goes for them. It's a difficult business. And the FTC blocked a deal that would have saved Spirit shareholders, only for them to potentially go under.
Yeah, and the shareholders voted against, apparently, the deal that Trump was, or the U.S. government was trying to negotiate to keep Spirit alive, keep that spirit strong. But yeah, it looks like they are momentarily away from shut down their bankruptcy for Spirit, but we'll see. Someone could still come in. Meta made its way all the way back to 612 right now, by the way. So into those levels might be something in and around there for Meta. As Nvidia falls, so does Intel. So we have both of these names, but it's Nvidia rate. We have Intel long though, unfortunately. There goes Nvidia right back into the 50 period. So we did real well by waiting for VWAP on that, and we actually got it at 200, and there it goes right there down to the downside as we've just been shorting Nvidia all day, and we'll just see. It's been weak. Obviously, the market up 0.7. Nvidia now flat on the day, but here goes Intel breaking. I mean, we're down 60 cents on this, but it does look like it's starting to now break back below that 99 level. So just coming into some areas. This is why we're trying to buy it. That's 98.50 dip down. I don't know how long I want to really hold this thing, but right here, Intel with the sellers. We said, people are going to sell this name. It's probably up here near 100. Just thought we would take that risk to see if it did continue its parabolic move, and it doesn't look like it's doing that at all as Intel, there it goes, continues to fall back in, down now through that quarter point. Okay, man, we got a winner on Nvidia, but not so much on Intel. We'll see if we can bounce back through 99 bucks and then get that back into 100, but not yet, as Intel continues to fall down. Thanks for the show. It's been a good one, man. It's 11:02. We'll see everybody very, very soon at 2 p.m., but it's the midday show, the flagship, about to take over and blast through right now. It's Joe, it's Sharif. See ya. Thanks, Adara.
Friday, Joey.
Then?
It's Friday.
Then?
You ain't got no job.
No, man.
What?
It's Friday then.
Saturday,
Sunday.
It's Friday then. Hey, what's up, beautiful people? Boom. Welcome to the Midday Show. That's your boy, Joey Options. I'm Sharif. Let's say hello to everybody, Joey. We got Hangray Waf. What's going on? Andrew, I see you, sir. Mr. Raj, R42. The boys are in the house, baby. Christmas, Green Saber. We got Jacques, the OG, Casey, Vern, Daily Day Trade. Shout out to my friends there at Solar Tech, the Auspicious Turtle. What's up? Remember that, man. There's not a commercial that used what's up in the 90s. I know I'm old, okay? Samira. What's going on, Samira? We got Solar, we got Rim, Heaven, Kahlua, Random Oddities, and Tomaso, Anurag. What's going on, Anurag? Dexter frickin' Smith. What's up, man? Durant, Gordon, Jael, Press. New names. Come on, guys. New names that are not like random characters that trip me up, right? Like good names that I can read out. NorCal Granger, WS Lone, Kareem Horos, Gabby Frigo, T-Money. We got Roulette. We got, who else, man? Buffalo Soldier. Shout out to Chazzy Fresh. Let's go. Dude, my man. Algo Assassin. Love that name, Joey. Turbo. Tylon. Probably butchered that. Grunfeld, the OG. Big Scalp. Love Big Scalp, man. That's the name. But Big Spile did warn everybody in the chat yesterday, those who tread on his big moniker may face some headwinds. I'm not talking about price action headwinds, Joey. Good morning. What's going on?
Yeah, same old, man. What's up with my boy Ryan O'Day? A lot of people in the chat here. We're going to wait for Bravely to give us a couple TikTok shout-outs. We'll do that as well. Hope everyone's having a fantastic morning. See my boy Ryan O'Day. He's going to be up 4 a.m. bright and early. Crazy. Because why? We're in Australia, mate. Yeah, this weekend, 7 a.m. UFC, man. A lot going on here. What did we trade today? Let's get right into things. All right, we're going to kick it off with some NFLX. Let's get this over to the side. Netflix, small scalp, and I'm like, you know, what's something fishy going on here? We keep knocking on the door of this 94.15 level. Couldn't break it. So we take it off, small W, nothing substantial. We're taking one more attempt here on IBIT. But our better one here today is going to be FBL. Moving forward, guys, off of those lows. I'm like, what happened here? I didn't take all that out. Sure enough, it did. It exited my position, so we're all out of that one. I think we can continue to climb a little bit higher in Facebook, and then we're going to head over to IBIT. All right, let's take a look at IBIT here today. Take a loss initially, then we take a scalp out break even. Prints a nice indecision candle right below the volume-weighted average price. Now, let's see if we're going to see any strength step back into this market. If not, we get out right there. But nonetheless, IBIT, small scalp. I was thinking we'd get some continuation. I was like, oh, no, on the backside, we have to take some off, and then we get that break-even stop out. That's going to be our next outright around this neck of the woods. The only blemish here today is going to be this. Like, I gotta have a talk with Randy over here, man. It's like, what's going on with this name? I stopped looking at it because I'm like, what the heliante is going on here? So we take a couple attempts on this. Boom, stop. I'm like, all right, AC Slater to that one. We take our 3 swings, and that was it. But nonetheless, IBIT might be him today. Ooh. Facebook was him today for us. So we're gonna continue on that trajectory and stick to the names that have been Oh, I don't want to go over the blue ocean. FBL.
That's crazy.
And Q. But yeah, there it is, man. So let's rock and roll. Let's see if we can get some things working for us. I did not want to get all out of this. I have no idea what happened over here. Just exited my position. I took 25% more off, and the next thing I look, over at 0. You're not in it anymore. I'm like, what? I didn't do any of that nonsense. But nonetheless, we'll navigate that. There goes Facebook as it's heading towards the volume-weighted average price, currently sitting above it right now, and looks like it wants to continue to climb. Let's see if we can get Bitcoin rocking and rolling strong earlier this morning, but then it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, never mind. I don't know what you're talking about, strong. We're about to head a little bit lower. So there it goes back towards the downside. No issues with that one as we step out. But Facebook is a name that we should continuously look at as the overall market giving me shelf vibes. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start to come back in a little bit, being led by the likes of NVDA down to 199.62. Not really participating on that rally that we've seen in a lot of the chips. Intel, I heard the boys talking about. AMD putting in a new all-time high. So it's like, whoa, okay, no, everyone's forgot about NVDA and how they got there and the reason why. They are essentially maybe the king of the chips. I don't know. Are they going to be dethroned? I don't think so anytime soon, but it doesn't matter what you think. What matters is what price action is telling you, and they're not in love with the stock right now.
They're clearly not. But you know what I'm in love with here?
What's that?
AIOS. We got another multiple halter, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to work. It's not as cheap as it was in the pre or even earlier on. Like this one at the open was like 12 bucks. Yeah, it's doubled it and then some. Halted 26.99. This monster is up 189.6%. on the day, having done only 1.2 million shares as a result, obviously, of its inability to stay open. Here's what we're looking at. We had that initial breakout there, 9:30. We stayed halted to about 9:47. Up halt, down halt, down halt, up halt, up halt, up halt, up halt, up halt. You see where I'm going with this? This thing's ripping up. We got to keep a close eye on this one. We're just going to look quickly here to see what the halt time was. And then we're going to send it to Adara because she has news. Halt time, 11:04:25. Tap showing 27, so 26.99 halt. That's not telling us much. Earliest this will be open is 11:09:25. Adara.
Keep an eye on BP here. British Petroleum, a little bit of a move, as you can see here on this chart, seeing reports the company's considering a full or partial sale of UK and North Sea assets. So again here, BP reportedly considering a full or partial sale of their UK North Sea assets. I have to mention as well here, more headlines out of the Middle East, nothing massive, and also this headline should not be a surprise, but I'll pull up oil here. An Iranian source telling CNN that Iran remains, quote, deeply distrustful of the U.S. Again, not really shocking here, but apparently this source saying, as it gets casting doubt on the ability to even have a new proposal to restart negotiations. So again, yeah, Iran not trusting the U.S., talks are stalling. It'll be wait and see as to if these negotiations take place again. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara, for that. All right, guys, let's get down to work. We talked about AIOS, but who remembers AKAN, the monster from like several days? I was singing this one's praise, and I keep singing it because it's not losing trend. We know what the typical profile for these small cap gappers are. They're around for a good time, not a long time. Well, this one's around for a week plus, Joey, because this started breaking out 28, held at 29, the 30th, and then they said sell in May and go away. No. If you sold AKAN yesterday, you are missing out on a cool 63% accretion in some profits there. 78.90 high. It's awfully spready. It's doing less volume today. Take a quick gander over here. Bottom right of your screen, look how smaller the volume bars are relative to yesterday. So something we need to be alive to here on AKAN, likely a bit of a wider spread as well. Shout out to the OG Bovin, who was pointing this one out. ATOM, Adam. Looking bull flaggish. I mean, you get the breakout right at 9:30. It looks like we're in the consolidation component right now of the flag or pennant, whatever you want to call it. 10.97 high, essentially $11. Having trouble weaseling back above 50. This one is awfully respectful the way I see it. Of the 10 moving average, exponential always. On the 5, it's holding it, nary a breach, if one at all, quite frankly. So ATOM in focus. As you'll see there, I'm long LWLG. I'm out of the money by 13 pennies. My objective here is for this one to hold the 10 EMA. It's giving me rounding vibes, right? Where it kind of makes a base. Base looks like it's around 1550 and it reclaims the 10 EMA, starts putting in some higher lows and higher highs. Clearly having trouble though, closing above 16. As you can see it here, very few prints. Closing prints, above 16 on the day. There's a couple. I think there's maybe one right at 11 o'clock, and then we retrace below. So it looks like 16 here, a bit of a trouble area for LWLG. So long as it holds the levels that I've earmarked, we're going to stay involved in the trade. Oh no, AIOS opened up without us. It is halted down. Okay, well, it's breaking a little bit of a trend here because we were talking about how many up halts this one had in a row. Let's count them again, Joey. They should teach this on Sesame Street. 1 halt, 2 halt, 3 halt, 4 halt. Oh my goodness, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up in a row, and then we get 1 down into where do we go there? 24 and a third. Anyway, it looks pretty good here. I'm gonna keep a close eye on the trend. I want to see what the tap is.
Bro, I'm still kind of baffled here. Like, why did I get out of my, what happened? Like, why am I out of this Facebook trade?
Heard of me?
Like, what happened? I don't know. I don't know, man. I didn't even press anything. I took a 20% out, and it's like, yeah, all right, Joe, let's get it all out. It doesn't even matter, though. It doesn't even matter. Why? Because Bitcoin matter. Bang.
My man.
Who is that? That's Lincoln.
Lincoln. Oh, may he rest in peace, of course.
Oh, yeah. All right, I take that back. We'll go back to Adara after we hit the stone cold there off of this IBIT trade. Let's see if we can continue to climb as the market is starting to recover. Netflix climbing higher. Meta still off to the races, guys, right back towards the earlier session consolidation highs. But people are like, Joe, you're not in Tesla? No, sir. I'm in IBID. Let's go off to Adara.
Sir.
More headlines here out of the Middle East. We do have, as I put up on the screen here a couple minutes ago, apparently more sanctions being introduced here by the U.S. Department of Treasury against Iran. Furthermore, in this statement, I guess alongside the sanctions, the U.S. warned shippers that paying tolls for the Strait of Hormuz will actually put them at risk of sanctions from the U.S. So more sanctions and then warnings of further sanctions should shippers be paying tolls to the Strait of Hormuz. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Adara.
Oh, that's crazy.
Fluffy. That was like, I think, your best call out ever, and I don't mean that in any sort of disrespectful way, but I don't know how I didn't have eyes on this. Wolf is ripping up. It's not up big percentage-wise, 15 4/5, a bit more, but look at this. I mean, this is pretty clean here with very few bamboozlement prints, maybe a couple here and there, but for the most part, and if you're using the 10 EMA, a level we always talk about, quite frankly, no breaches, none. Now, to be fair, you had very few in the way of actual touches onto the 10 EMA, so there were very few times where you could have weaseled into this, because if you were looking for the 10 EMA, you didn't get it that clean. All right, continuing to watch. I like that one, Fluffy, thank you. Now we're a little in the money here, nothing to write home about, bless you. On LWLG, I'm looking for my first print at 1R, which is like 40 something. Now I could wet the beak at the third to $0.25, really depending on what kind of resistance I see, but I'm keeping an eye out. Yes, Fluffy, you did call out AKN. I stand corrected, actually. That was probably your best call. Yeah, I take that back, Fluffsters. You did call out AKN. I remember not believing in it because it was low volume, and I ended up being wrong. You were right, but yes, you did call that out. My bad. All right, so that's what we're looking at there. White House has asked about Iran submitting a proposal to Pakistan. We do not detail private diplomatic conversations. Negotiations continue. Adara has more news.
Yeah, so again, this is just the White House's response. So I guess they were asked here if Iran did in fact submit that proposal to Pakistan, as we had reported a couple hours ago, and they're saying that the negotiations do continue, but they're not going to provide any details. Very much in line with their prior stance, but just be aware here, USO did drop a little bit here. I mean, not massively, but again, White House indicating they're not going to give more details, but negotiations with the U.S. and Iran continue. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that. Yes, so Fluffy, let's get to WOLF here because it's clearing 34, like the whole dollar doesn't even matter. I'm not going to sing that again, but like
Can sing it again.
into 34, 37 Fluffsters. This is at the high of the day as we speak. Let's pull this up on a trading screen so we can get a gander here at what the spread is on this name. WOLF on the NYSE, guys. This is on the NYSE. Okay, it's displeasing me immediately. About a 21 penny spread on the level 1, the level 2 showing a little bit differently. So we're going to have to manage this one in this very similar way, given the spread that we do with the halters, right? The halters have wide spreads as well. So we've managed it there. We can manage these ones as well, but probably a little bit more of a nuanced approach to WOLF. What's wrong? Are you printing?
I wouldn't say that, but we're in this IBIT trade. Finally, I was like, man, this thing's almost this close. I don't know what happened. I got to get over it, Sharif, but it's really bothering me. This Facebook trade, I don't know why I got all out of that one. Anyways, yeah, I don't know what happened there, but nonetheless, there goes IBIT. Let's see if we can head towards the high of the day as the market's starting to rebound here, guys, especially off of that bounce off of the volume-weighted average price. A nice move up into 44.56. Let's see if we can get into 44.60s. That's going to be one of our primary targets. Never broke the low, so no reason for us to get out. Could we have gotten a little bit better of a price? Absolutely. That's how it typically could go. But nonetheless, the Bitcoin starting to climb. I thought we could head into this pivot before I send it back to you, Sharif. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt what you had going on.
You're good.
This is what I was thinking here on IBIT, is that, all right, we gap up here a little bit. Where's that next pivot level? 45.16s. And if we can break through that, then off to the races we go. So
I like it. I like it. I'm liking the energy, bro. I'm liking it.
yeah, man.
Hey, it's good energy. It's a Friday, too. So the fact that you do have this energy is saying something.
Yeah, well, I told you come 1 o'clock, man, the caffeine crash.
You got to refill that, Joey. All right, guys, AIOS, not looking that good, quite frankly, here. We're halted down as we spoke about 24.30. Number one, this is likely going to be a 10-minute halt, 11:09.50. Earliest it'll be open 11:19.50, but that's not the main part of the bad news. The bad news is the theoretical auction price, the TAP, not looking real good here. It is slated to open much lower, about $2.50 lower, quite frankly. It just popped up into 22. I was just looking at 21s there. 21. But there you go. So AIOS could be on the way down now. Here's the deal. We got the 22.50 level is the 10 EMA on the 5. Below that, we're looking at 20, obviously, because that's a whole dollar level. It could find some support there. It didn't really have a lot of resistance, quite frankly, at 20. So I'm kind of unsure whether this is going to actually find some support at the whole dollar level. And then last but not least, you have the volume weighted average price sitting at 18.20, give or take. AKAN just absolutely dropped aggressively. $10, Katina, man, in 1 5-minute candle. What the helly? Look at this. Into 75. It's holding the 10 EMA. Then all hell broke loose to the downside. 66.51. It is halted down. AKAN just dropped off a cliff there. I hope everybody was managing this one soundly. Let's take a quick look here at what the technicals are now that we're halted down. Well, funny thing is, we're basically halted right at the volume weighted average price, maybe a penny or two below. You know what I mean, a penny or two on a $67 name. So we're going to keep a close eye here on AKAN as it gets ready to open up. But Buvin, you called out Adam, my man. What's going on over there, Katina, man? Intel's ripping. Katina, man, is printing on Intel. Make sure you're looking at his levels there in the chart. But just before we go to Adara, Joey, ATOM is ripping, Buvin. You're telling me about TLIH? How come you're not in ATOM, my man? This is clean as hell. Look at this hold. Pardon me? Back over 100, says Katina Man on Intel. So if you're following the Intel trade there with the Katina Man, keep a close eye on that. But Joey, just before we get your take there, I know you're printing, you're doing well.
No, I'm doing that for Katina Man.
You're doing it for Katina Man. But Adara does have news, Joey, at the big desk.
Let's send it over to Adara.
I do, and I have news on Oracle. ORCL here pushing into new intraday highs. Pentagon announcing that Oracle is joining the AI effort. We know we had reports that the likes of Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Amazon's AWS were going to be getting some Pentagon involvement as of earlier today. ORCL reportedly also joining again. Pentagon announcing Oracle is going to be part of their AI effort. I also have to mention here more oil-related comments as we do have here. We got an I-24 reporter here on the Karg Island saying that, quote, Iran is filling tankers with oil to store it there. So Iran apparently filling tankers with oil to store on Karg Island. That's my interpretation of this comment. As far as we can tell here based on the limited information. If I get anything else, I'll let you know. Back to you.
I don't know what it is today, man. I got the funny gene going on here.
What's it like outside?
It's actually quite good. It's not your good because you want it drenching in 100% humidity, which I don't like. But
that's the best, man. It's honestly
bothers me that he says that.
Yeah.
What's that, Assassino? Temperature-wise, we're 8 Assassino. To be honest with you, feels like more like 10. That's bad, he said. All right.
That's my guy, man.
Ozin.
You know what we haven't hit in a while?
What haven't you hit, Joey?
Yeah, very disgusting, I mean, for sure. This one, we'll see you later, man. Ooh. Ooh. Oh.
Yeah.
And more.
Well, we're not going to see him later because he's sticking around.
That's what we're saying. AC.
Sticking around.
We're saying AC. Oh, yeah.
Not going anywhere.
No, yeah, I am, honestly. I thrive in the heat, man. I love it when it's just super hot and no AC, just let the humidity just stick around and just, yeah, man, it's my style, brother. Except with the exception, I don't like when it's super hot and then it rains to the point where you can see the steam coming off of the ground. I don't like that.
So 100% humidity, not down your alley, just like 95.
Yeah, up there, 98.
Joey.
Yeah.
There goes LW. Katina, man, he was like doing the head bob with me. There it goes into that air, into 6 1/3. We wet the beak. We get 1R here on LWLG. We're looking for a little bit more. Let's see if we can work up into the $0.50. 1660 area high, guys. But that was the implied balance open, and it was a really ugly topping tail candle. As you can see there on the 5 bottom chart, guys. It did pop up into this level. So good entry. Not bad. It could have been a little bit better, quite frankly. I did get a little bit of slippage on the entry, so we're not going to complain too much about that. But Bovin, I hope you're looking at Atom because Atom, ATOM, just made a new high of day, breaching 11 for the first time into 11.11. It is up 34, almost 35%. And I would say this is the cleanest of the bunch here, guys. That's a clean hold of the 10 EMA after a bit of a rejection initially right around 11. Looks like 1097, 1096. So ATOM needs to be in your on your side chart, in your purview, whatever you want to call it there. But this is a good-looking name. We could see 15 if ATOM takes off. And Joey, remember how we were talking about the down halt on AIOS and how the top wasn't going to look good? It was basically top at 22. Well, guess what? It is halted up again. It's halted at 24.53. So AIOS not giving it up. The tap is showing 25, which is about 47 pennies from where we are right now. Halt time, 11:20:43. Earliest this will be open 11:25:43. So we're going to keep a close eye on this one. I'm still very interested in trading AIOS because this is pretty aggressive. Now, Luis, I think Luis was in the chat earlier, and he was saying $30 locates for a lot. So, that's not too bad on a name that's moving dollars at a time. So I wonder if there's going to be people participating on this short or keeping a bit of a price stop here, Joey, in and around 27, high of day, 27.51 on AIOS.
Yeah, buyers keep stepping in here on IBIT, which I like, continuing to push a little bit higher consolidation, and then boom, off to the races it goes. There was a good ad opportunity, but neither here nor there. But nonetheless, guys, 2.8% for IBIT here this morning, continuing to climb a little bit higher. Let's see, man, the tape is strong. Take my strong hand. Nonetheless, I mean, I was looking at Roku, just a lot of the earnings plays from this morning. We're getting that turtle shell type price action here in Roku. You can see we're slowly starting to curl over. Initial drive extremely weak. Now there's going to be maybe a support level right around VWAP, and then we have Meta still hovering around that neck of the woods. But we have a full-on recovery here in the SPY, or sorry, in the Nasdaq. Not so much in the SPY, as you can see. We're still a ways away off of the high of the day. Let's send things back off to Adara, and just like that, things can flip on a dime here in Bitcoin. We're going to go to Adara here momentarily, but there it is, inverted hammer candle right above VWAP. We have to look to take a little bit off here, folks,
Joey.
just in case it does want to break down. So let's do that and send it off to Adara.
One name that's drifting higher here, guys, though not on earnings, is Zoom ZM. Now, no news on this one per se, but I'm seeing a lot of people circulate once again this company's massive investment in Anthropic. Now, in case you guys missed it, they invested roughly $51 million in Anthropic in May of 2023. Now, roughly 3 years later, Zoom's stake is valued at roughly $5 billion or more. So we know once it started circulating in January of 2026, Zoom pushed higher again. Reminders of the massive rumored size of Zoom's Anthropic stake, pushing this one to the upside. Again, this is coming up today specifically because Anthropic is rumored to be considering a funding round at a more than $900 billion valuation. So great look here for Zoom, communicating more upside. Back.
Know about this, man?
Don't, man, you don't know. Don't go.
I didn't know about this.
Stick with Dua, my G.
Bro.
It's better.
Scooter Braun and Sydney Sweeney. I didn't know about this. I had no idea, right? And then she put pictures of him here. I had no idea. She didn't tell me. Joey.
What?
There goes LWLG through the $0.50. We got 13s on. We just wet the beak there at 49. It's a high day of 60. We're going to pack the patience here. We're looking for 17, okay? AIOS, Joey, is open. It's indecisive right now. The low of this current candle, 24.05, high 26.50, $2.50 worth of range on a $24 name. It's at the lower end of the candle. Your hands on something. I know something's going on over there.
I don't know, man. You might have to take the stream deck away from me today. I just feel like.
Yeah, get it, Katina, man. Ozan, that's for you, brother.
Ooh.
You asked?
Is that for Ozan?
Yeah, Ozan requested it. He wanted the floating
hit that for.
Yeah.
Did you request this
Really
one too,
funny
Ozan?
stuff.
Probably not, but.
Bang.
Yeah, there goes Bitcoin climbing higher. There goes Facebook starting to continue its ascent here. So nonetheless, man, let's see what else we got going on. We want to put on some more trades here, climb back a little bit more, but nonetheless, we got this IBIT up 2.8%. At the highs, it was around 2.9. Not too bad of a look. And then we got Facebook. Oh man, the one that miss out works the best, and there it goes.
That got away?
Yeah, it's the one that got away, man. Everybody has one of those, I think, in my opinion. Anyways, aside from that, guys, let's head over to our watch list and go scroll through some of the top names. What do we got going on in the Mag 7 land? Ooh, short NVDA. We like that one there, Katina, man. Nice move. Looks like it's going to head a little bit lower here, guys. Continuing what we've seen from yesterday's price action. Boom, straight to the downside. Consolidate. You put in a little bit of a pullback, and then now you have that curl over with the inability to breach the volume-weighted average price, and now heading towards the low of the day. AAPL, how you doing? You're all right. We're not going to complain whatsoever, but inverted right around these highs above VWAP. Not too bad of a look. Goggles, did it put in a new all-time high this morning during the pre-market, right at the open, 387.21. So not too bad of a look for Goggles. Let's take a look at it from a daily and see what we got going on. Monstrous, mate. Monstrous. Yeah, man. Big time move. You get 40% in the span of a month. Like, we're talking about some of the best performing month in the NASDAQ here since 2020, and there it goes, being led by some of the largest names. We have Amazon yesterday, all-time high. We like that one. Tesla lagging. Is this going to be a good potential buy, my brother? I don't know. But we also have, ooh, look at this on volume, ladies and gentlemen. We like this. Meta, are we going to continue to climb and recover? This is one of the names that has been lagging, but for the right reasons. Down 22%, so still in bear market territory. All right, Mateus. I'm not going to try that. Hey, Joe, INTC is up more than 100% in 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
Is this move justified or overextended? Do you expect a near-term correction? You know what? Listen, we say this all the time, and again, you have to manage your own account, but when you move this far, this fast, I'll typically say that it can continue to climb. right? Like we've seen it in multiple names, but you get 133% in the span of a month, a little bit more. It's like, all right, there's nothing wrong with locking in a little bit of cash and seeing if you're going to get a lower price. I mean, obviously there's so much going for this name right now, and it's been beaten up for so long, and I'm talking about years, that it's finally seeing that breakout. And when we're talking about textbook kind of style breakouts, this would be one of them. Like you consolidate for a long time, and then you just have this insane move following that. But there's so many positive catalysts going for it. Tariff with Tesla, 10% stake is when this name really started to continue to climb after Donald Trump claimed that he made Intel pretty much great again. So there it is. INTC, 133%. Wait, you don't think?
No. I was waiting for that tweet. I'm like, what's taking so long? Or the truth, whatever.
Yeah,
and then we get it. I'm like, yes. The world makes sense again.
We should just call Donald Trump the truth. Who calls himself that? Isn't there a wrestler that calls himself the truth?
True. R-Truth? Isn't his name R-Truth, Katina?
Yeah,
What's his name? Ron Killings. I love it.
He is no
what a
longer
name.
He is no longer the truth.
Joey, I got a couple of updates here.
All right,
LWLG is ripping. We just took it out there at 80. We had 13s. It is really going. It's on the way to 17 right now. LWLG looking real good. Look, it's not a big percentage winner, 22.6%. And we took a nice trade here. Entry, 20, I think I got 24 12s. We wet the beak there at 26 and a quarter on AIOS. I made a mistake here. I was not supposed to take out that last little piece. I was confused about how many shares I had. Ended up taking it out. That was a mistake. And it started showing me that halt parameter at around 27.75. So there is that same seller, guys, that we see in the mid to high 27s. We saw the rejection 11 o'clock. We saw the 11:05 rejection, and we saw it again at 11:25. But here we are again in the high 26s, showing 26 and a half. 2680. Let's see if we can rip up again. I can't quite see what the limit up. Okay, limit up is 28.25. That's about $2 from where we are. AIOS can move $2 quick as you like if they squeeze out the shorts. Here we are close to 27 again. I'm liking the way AIOS is trading here, guys. These are going to halt down as much as, not as much, obviously, as they halt up, especially on the uptrend. It could be on the downtrend, obviously, even more halts down. But the way that this one is trading, holding moving averages, holding technical areas, it's looking good. 28.53 now, limit up, moves up from 28.25 to 28.53. We're still knocking the door of 27, and there goes 27. There's 28. That's a new high of day. 28.53 limit up. We just showed the halt parameter there, and now we're seeing it again. 28.53. This one's going to halt up again. It feels like, okay, the limit up has moved. 29.02 now, it limit up. So, this is the kind of thing it does. It moves up as the timer starts ticking again. 10%, right? Move within 5 minutes. And then the timer resets. 29.02, limit up. Keep your eye out on this one. It's really ripping here. It's up over 200% and looking fantastic. We got more to say about this one. And I did see the tags there, guys. I will get back to you. And I see Trig Trades with the super chat. We're going to address all that as soon as we get back from Adara.
Bitcoin really wants that 80,000 level, but will we get it? We've had 79.5 again, this touch twice here in mid to late April, and we're starting May with a buoyant push here for BTC, near 3% here to the upside on the day. And again, that higher low on the daily chart that we made on Monday, Wednesday, that low just below 75,000, really holding up so far. Now let's take a look at the weekly. BTC here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now nearly 5 straight green weeks for Bitcoin. Now, other than that 79 halves, 80,000 level, you have this 80 halves level coming through as some clear prior support here on the weekly, which could form as resistance again, going back to November of 2025. But either way here, potential good look for Bitcoin. We'll switch over to Ethereum right now. Ethereum on the weekly, once again, deviating from Bitcoin. We look like we're going to break a 4-week green streak rather than pushing through with a 5-week green streak like BTC. If you look at the daily here too, Ethereum continuing to kind of make these lower highs on the daily rather than the higher lows made by BTC. So the divergence between these two continues to be really fascinating, guys. Back to you.
Thank you. Did you want to touch on that real quick?
Guys, AIOS is just ripping. Joey, 29.69 high of day. Limit up is 30.21. We haven't really hit too many halt parameters here. There hasn't been too many false halts. Here we go again, knocking the door of 29. Let's see if we can get it back above it. This one's ripping. 29.25. Good look for AIOS. Look, you're close to that $30 area. $30 area could prove to be, you know, a momentary area of psychological resistance. The $10 areas typically are, at least, you know, initially, and then they get ripped through. So we're going to keep a close eye here on AIOS because it is not giving up the trend. The trend is intact, like it or not. We're going to keep a close eye out on this one. I was speaking above in about ATOM. Him and I were going back and forth, and I really like Adam, right? Like I'm not trying to disrespect this one. Well, I can't believe AIOS is going to take out the highs. So what I was saying above in was I'm seeing a lot of resistance at 11, right? You saw that initially, 11.25, and then this candle. The shorts were like almost earmarking that 11.20 candle, waiting for the breach of 11 just to get aggressive with it, and they have. They've dropped it now down to $10.50. My observation here is going to be strictly to see, can it hold the 10? As we've seen before, since this one broke out at 9:30, it hasn't breached the 10. Now, it did, you know, touch it up a little bit over here, but there was no breaches. What does that say to me? That means that the mechanical trading system or the algorithm that's trading this is earmarking the 10 as a clear area of support and is buying it aggressively off that. And that's what I'm going to use as my backstop. If that fails, if that's no longer the case, then my thesis has to change. Right? So then I'm keeping a close eye on this. My entry on Adam Bovin, I think, would be the hold of the 10 EMA and then the breach of the prior bar high to go green. We'll take the first 5-minute candle and make a new high, Joey. We're going to go to Adara.
Pretty scathing social media post here from U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent a couple of minutes ago on Iran. He actually compares Iran's leadership to, quote, rats in a sewer pipe in terms of their lack of awareness and his opinion of what's going on. But he said, 1, the U.S. has complete control over the Strait of Hormuz. 2, there is a hard currency, i.e. U.S. dollar shortage. Food and gasoline rationing is in place. Number 3. Number 4, the entire international community has turned against Iran, again, as stated by Bessent. And 5th, the all-caps blockade will continue until there is pre-February 27th freedom, capital F, of navigation, capital N. So, yeah, basically Bessent here saying the blockade will continue and trying to lay things out, in his opinion, for the Iranian government. Keep an eye on USO. Back to you.
We gotta shout out Trig's Trades, Assassino, because he dropped 5 there in the chat. We're gonna thank him for that. Thank you very much, Trig Trades. Look what he said, Joey.
Let's see what he said.
Been watching TTV for a month. Haven't made much money yet, but instructional and entertaining is a rare combo. Appreciate your help. Have a great weekend. You know, you probably heard all the anecdotes. You probably heard it from Mike Joseph, myself.
I like the honesty.
Pardon me?
I like the honesty.
Yeah, and the fact that trading is hard. And it takes quite a bit of a learning curve, right? I always used to kind of compare it to, you know, getting your degree, right? You don't show up year 1 and then, you know, end up with a bachelor's.
No.
Right? You got to go through the 4-year if you're doing an honors. If you're not, you're doing 3. And just look at it like that, right? Look at it as like, I need a 3, 4, whatever window.
Trading.
Yeah, you need your master's after that. So if you're profitable by year 5, year 4, maybe year 6, good on you. But it takes a long time. So stick with us.
That's good, man. Like, you got to understand here, you don't understand how difficult it is. There goes Bitcoin continuing to climb. Yeah, I couldn't agree more to what you had to say there, Sharif. Like, just expect. The one thing about trading, the difference between school and trading is that within school, it's like chess, right? Chess, you have complete information. Trading is just a consistent, ongoing, revolving door of incomplete information that you essentially have to base thesis off of. So I was reading something very interesting. Yeah, I love chess as well, too. I do.
I know.
I like
you always, you know, I chuckle because that's what you trade on Duolingo instead of doing the Spanish. That's why.
No, I do a little bit of. I do a little bit of both. I like a little chess here. I was on chess.com playing Jose all the time. Jose was just rinsing me. He was really good. I almost beat him one time, though, to be honest. Yeah. I was like, I got to keep it. Watch out, Magnus Carlsen. I'm coming for you, bro. Do you think I could ever have a chance?
Yeah, of course. I'm sure you could play him.
I could play,
I don't think you're going to win. I love you, but
I'll play with you, Angry. Yeah, I'll play anybody in chess, to be honest with you. Anyways, aside from what I was getting at, just be prepared, man. It's consistent, incomplete information, and you have to be prepared for that as something within trading. All right, another $20 super chat.
Big.
All right, that's huge.
Hold on, Joey. We got to find out. I saw it, and I was proactive with it.
Oh, okay.
Let's get it.
All right.
Who is this? Ah, yes. A little bit. He's not here right now. I'd show him this, but here's what it reads. Greg Trail, 3491. Love it. Sharif, I finally figured out who Sean reminds me of. LOL. John Lovitz. He was on Seinfeld for an episode, The Scofflaw. I love that episode, man. It's like he couldn't breathe. He couldn't do anything because the law was always after him, right? He was on Friends as well, yeah. No, he used to be a big actor, Katina, Assassino, like in the 90s and stuff. He was in a lot of movies. Yeah, I can see a little bit of the similarities there. He's a funny guy. And I love him for the whole Seinfeld episode there. That was hilarious. Yeah, that's the Scofflaw episode. But this guy, he feigned cancer in the show to get sympathy points from people. And then Seinfeld ended up getting him a toupee because he was losing his hair because of chemo, right? So he felt bad for him. He's like, all right, I'm gonna fork over a few grand. Went and got him all done and stuff like that. And then he found out from George, because George can't keep a secret, that this guy, he doesn't actually have cancer. And then everybody turned on him.
Yeah, I feel a little left out on that one, but that's
I know
all
you
right,
don't
man.
care about Seinfeld.
Hey, man, it is what it is. There goes IBIT. Yeah, there goes Tesla continuing to climb higher, putting in a new high of the day. So that's not too bad of a look. Are we going to continue to grind higher? And Bitcoin is the real question, now up 3% on the session. But bravely, I haven't forgot about you. We're all about making sure everyone is included. So what we want to do is take a look at some of our viewers on TikTok. Emperor, seeing you in the chat quite often. Armin Sidhu, not Armin Sarukian. User, what's up? Overton Johnson, GoldenEye, one of the greatest games of all time. Simrat, Rockin', Fried Egg, hey, Love Sinica, Cody Holmes, what's up, Cody? And then we also have Apple Cash, the Litz Bar, Beaver, Planet, OK to Ace. It's always OK to Ace, so I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Welcome to Trader TV Live, and continue to watch us and join us on whatever platform you may be. Oracle, brother, up 7%. Let's go, my brother. Yeah, Oracle up bigly here today. Looking pretty good. Nonetheless, we have a lot going on as the market, the NASDAQ, that is, about to put in a new high of the day. Is that going to put us at all-time highs once again? Let's see. I don't know about that one. We have to figure it out. Yeah, I think so. Blue sky territory once again in the NASDAQ. Off to the races it goes. Man, oh man, you get a 12% pullback, Sharif, and that was it. They're like, yeah, all right, let's just buy this dip and continue to climb and just absolutely rip the market, which I think is being led mostly by some of the other chip names. Obviously, we have Google involved with that, Amazon putting in all-time highs, Broadcom in that neck of the woods. Yeah. So a lot of the big names doing what they're supposed to do.
Broadcom's back.
Yeah, lead the way, and that's what you want your best players to do, Leafs. But anyways, yeah, that's it, man. Hold on, you ready for this?
Yes,
okay.
I am.
We'll get into this. We'll get into this quick. So the Toronto Maple Leafs fired their GM. Anyways,
what's his name again?
Brad Trey Living.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, fired him. AC Slater to him. Later. So Keith Pelly, someone who's on MLSE, the owner essentially, the head guy, hires a agency, hires a talent agency to go and find them a new GM. Someone for hockey operations.
Makes sense.
They find this guy who hasn't been in the NHL for 5 years. And literally, he's like the owner of 30s Wendy's store. So he owns 30s, like Wendy's,
big
right?
Franchise.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But the last team that he generally managed was the Arizona Coyotes, who are no longer in existence in the NHL, are now the Utah Mammoth. Right?
I didn't even know Utah had a name, bro. Team.
So the Leafs hired this talent agency and find a dude who is running Wendy's stores to run their NHL, their hockey operations.
So you're not happy about it?
Would you?
No, well, I don't know anything about the guy other than he owns a bunch of Wendy's and he was a failed hockey team. So that's just not quite promising.
Need to know, man. So you're going to tell me I'm paying you a bunch of money and this is the resume you plop on my desk? Come on, man.
It's not a good look, man. I don't know too much about it, but yeah.
Crazy.
Guys, AIOS is just ripping up, and I have to get back in here. It is all gas, no brakes, with a $33 high. I'm keeping a close eye here on the 5-second chart, trying to keep, trying to spot areas of macro support and resistance. Looks like 31 area, 30 and 2/3 area support. Generally, it's ripping up 33.96 halt level. This one is just, it's not pulling back. It's not halting, but it's not pulling back either. And the pullbacks have all been bought up. Quite frankly, it's very respectful of trend, having only breached the 10 EMA once at 11:20, and the candle ended up closing decidedly green. So I'm going to have to work in here. This is not where I excel, though. Punching in at highs. I try to spot areas of support below, but I don't like punching in willy-nilly at random areas. It's just not my style. 34.38 limit up, showing 33.59, so about $1 south of the limit up. But this one hasn't halted for a little bit, so it's a little bit more. I don't want to say calm. It's not calm, but it's not. You're not getting caught offside as aggressively here, especially on the halts up. Here's a dip into 31, so defending into 32 here, keeping a close eye on this one. I'd like to get back in. I'd really like to get back in because this one can be quite profitable. But it can also rip your face off to the downside. A big seller comes in, a big short seller comes in, all of a sudden you're offside by a couple of dollars. By the way, offside rule changing in soccer.
Oh, yeah?
You heard about this?
No, I haven't.
Any part of the body that you could, for the defender.
Yeah.
So any part of the body on the defender, if it was holding the attacker onside, you would be called onside. Now it's the opposite. It's any part of the attacker that remains onside. So 90% of your body could be offside. Your arms don't count because you can't play the ball with your arms.
Yeah.
Head, shoulders, things like that, legs,
That's how it should
obviously,
be.
right? Any part of your body that remains onside, you're onside. It's going to increase goals exponentially.
That's the hockey onside.
But hockey's blue line, though, no?
Yeah, so it's the same. Like, so imagine like that would be your blue line. So your defender being your blue line, right? So as long as you have like literally a hair across the other side or on the blue line, you're still classified. Yeah,
I like that.
Onside, yeah.
I think it's going to increase the goals, and I think that's probably increase the popularity of the sport, right? Yeah, and exactly what hockey did. Remember when they removed the trap? And they took out all that interference, poke checking, all that crap.
Yeah, man.
And the goals went up.
They removed that one line as well, too. I forgot.
I'm kind of pumped about that, I'm not going to lie.
Chucky,
So Ibrahimovic's nose will be offside. He retired all time. That's so mean, Gorev. Why'd you go there? That's hilarious. One of the best players of all time, though. Shout out to Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Gorev, did you hear John Terry? He was, you know that podcast where Righty, and then there's Ian Wright, there's what's that guy called, Gary Neville, and then the other dude with the beard that used to fight everybody, him and Patrick Vieira. He was at United, then he went to Arsenal. What the hell is his name, man? The guy with the beard, I'm forgetting. It's called Overlap, Gorev. Yeah, thank you. What's his name went on there? John Terry went on there and said one of the toughest defenders physically, strength, Ibrahimovic. Couldn't handle him, right? Roy Keane, thank you, Jal Press. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, Roy Keane. Obviously, I have my feelings about Roy Keane because, Arsenal and United during that era didn't like each other, but yeah, it was really interesting to see that kind of take. I love when they have those guests on there. That Rooney as well. He was really interesting guest as well. Not Neymar. Get out of here. I agree. I love watching the Idols TVG these days. Yeah, man. Shout out to the boys there. Interesting podcast. We got to go to Adara, though, because there's news.
Half an hour ago from Middle East news source I-24 that Iran is filling tankers with oil to store on Karg Island. Now Iran's Tasnim news coming out and saying that, quote, contrary to the White House's baseless claims, there is still no sign of storage space running out. So implying there's a lot of room for Iran to store oil specifically on Karg Island. Back to you.
For a second. I don't believe that for a second. You can track all that stuff through satellite. They can't fool anybody. Which one, Assassino? Put it up. Thank you, Assassino. I appreciate it. Yeah, we did trick trades. Yeah, we did. Yeah, no, it's all good. We really appreciate what you had to say there. Now I hope you turn profitable, of course.
Refresh, guys. Refresh just in case, because I've seen a lot of people in the
froze.
chat. Yeah, saying that this morning.
Glaring into my soul.
Yeah, refresh.
Yeah, just refresh the stream, guys. We should be okay there. Hopefully everything is good. Bovin saying LABT is trying to curl up. Let's check that one quickly, Joe. Let's see what LABT is up to over here. Labatt Blue. You like Labatt Blue, Jess and Joey?
The
great
Pilsner?
Canadian beer.
Pilsner? Yeah, my grandpa used to drink that.
Yeah, my old man used to drink it.
The Pilsy.
My parents not much beer drinkers anymore. They used to be when I was young. LABT. Bovin, you know how I feel about these. This is well south of VWAP, but yeah, I get it. You do well with these, Bovin. You do well with the mean reversion trades in the way that OB does on the top, you do on the bottom. You pick them up off the bottom. Sometimes they retrace into VWAP. That's a good call out by you. Look, it's not for me, doesn't fit my parameters, but a good call nonetheless. I have a couple of things to say. First and foremost, AIOS has halted down again. 28.74 halt price. High of the day, 33.87. Basically right at the low of the prior candle. Prior candle low, 28.78. Current candle low, 28.74. Secondly, Fluffy, you're in the house. I hope you're in the house, Fluffy, because your calls are getting a lot better. I mean, quite frankly, with AKAN, and then this buy program today, WOLF, is absolutely ripping up. 35, the high of the day. I think Fluffsters called this out at 34 or 33.75. Great call out by you, Fluffy. This one's on its horse and wants to take out 20 pennies. So WOLF in view. Now, I'm probably going to work back into LWLG. 2-candle pullback, topping tail, fails 17, drops back in. Look at this. Holds the topping tail candle at 1660. So that was area resistance. Now flips to support. Moreover, it holds a 10 EMA. So what I'm going to wait for is the breach of prior bar high. The breach of prior bar high takes me to basically 1674.
Yeah, major volatility spike right there in Bitcoin and in the overall market. I'm just scrolling through
down or up?
YouTube here. Down. Let's pull up my screen here. Massive move. We're gonna have to get out of this IBIT trade as we just tank to the downside. Momentum. Are we gonna recover here? A massive move here, guys. Oh yeah, we got to get out of this one. Trail this bad boy. So we're all out. We were sitting this for quite some time, from 11 o'clock all the way up until noon. Boom. A truth post here. About to drop. There it is, the overall market starting to sell off, guys. Adara.
So here's the Trump Truth Social post. I'm going to try to pull it up to visualize it for you guys. But before that, I'll just start reading it out here. I am pleased to announce that based on the fact that the European Union is not complying with our fully agreed to trade deal, next week I will be increasing tariffs charged to the European Union for cars and trucks coming into the United States. The tariff will be increased to 25%. It is fully understood and agreed that if they produce cars and trucks in USA plants, there will be all caps, no tariff. Many automobile and truck plants are currently under construction with over $100 billion being invested, and all caps record in the history of the car and truck manufacturing. These plants, staffed with American workers, will be opening soon. There has never been anything like what is happening in America today. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So again, guys, the most important part here, he's going to be increasing the tariffs charged to the European Union for cars and trucks in the U.S. to 25%. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what that has to do with Bitcoin and why that's selling.
Hey, you know the market's macro, man. Like, that's just the way it is. Yeah, I know. I hate that too, but that's just the way it works out, right? But
that's what it is.
Look, hold on. Are these? I want to know. AIOS is open, guys. Let's focus on trading. Then we'll get to this stuff, I guess, on the news segment. AIOS. Let's see. This was a limit down. Let's see now. So as I mentioned, prior bar low, 28.74. Here we are, right back into 29, knocking the door of 30. It's ripping up now into 31. Here we go again on AIOS. Okay, let's watch here. 31.40. The spread is large. It's 25, 30, 40 pennies at times. Continuing to watch here, Joey. Looking for possible 30 support. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer to 30. I'm hesitant to want to put any sort of stop near the whole dollar. It will have to be substantially below it because this one's spready and volatile. So that's just a great recipe to get wicked out of a good trade. So keeping a close eye on this one. And we're going to have hopefully a couple of entries here. But I'm looking for a decisive hold of 30, and then I'm going to get back in. So I'm going to send it to you here, brother, so I can concentrate.
All right, good stuff, man. Okay, Danny boys. All right, Poo-Tang Moon Cheese. All right. Thank you for the $20 super chat. If we can hit the cha-ching, there we go, bang. Wow. Hey, shirt tuckers. So here's my latest business idea. I'm launching a 24-hour-a-day basketball show starting basketball legends Alonzo Mourning, Bobby Knight, and Roger Noonan. From the chat, the Morning Noonan Night Show. All right, man. Much appreciated. It sounds like you're bouncing around a lot here, Danny boy. You got to stick to one thing.
Danny boy.
Okay, pop that one up there. Thank you very much for that one. I'm all about that show. Send the channel. We'll hop in there. Noke. Okay, 20. There we go. Help. I'm stuck long sound with no spacesuit. Damn.
That's crazy.
HO 9000. Yeah, let's pull up you're stuck long with no spacesuit here on SoundHound. Let's see what we got. Where are you stuck long at, though, my friend? Like, this thing's been working pretty good here today. You didn't really give us any form of a price, but you can see that we have double topped around that 865 level and starting to come back in. 810, 814 is that low, and you're heading right back towards the volume-weighted average price. But, I mean, it didn't sell off with the rest of the market too aggressively, so that's not too bad. Stuck long, you can always just get out. I'm pretty sure the name is liquid enough, just to be honest with you. Unless you're down substantially in the position, then sometimes you just have to accept the fact that you need to cut your losses. Just get out if you don't feel like that the position is going to appreciate and climb. How's it been performing as of late? A price would be good. I mean, I would love to know where you're stuck long from, because it has been rallying with the overall market since April. You're up 42%. Unless you've been in this name for significantly longer, at what point, like October of last year, then yeah, you might be in a little bit of trouble. I wouldn't be DCing until oblivion, but there's always the options writing route you can go. With that being said, let's do that for you right now. Price, you don't need to super chat again. Just type in the price that you're currently long at, and then we can look to write some options. Once you do that, then we'll go over that there. Behave that you are. Hey, man. I don't, is that, oh, okay, yeah, I know, I get he's in outer space, I understand that. But nonetheless, if he's actually stuck, then you can get out of it, so.
Joey.
Yeah.
Free ticket to the moon base.
Yeah.
Once it's built.
Am I going?
Would you go?
Probably.
What does that mean? Yes or no?
I'd have to think about it. Yeah. Ram's going on.
Ram, you're gonna go?
Ram's going.
Yes, Ram. I love like the, I'm ready to go kind of situation. Yeah, man. How many times would you get that opportunity? We say that a lot because we're in our era, but like in the future, this is going to be kind of a nothing burger, right? People are just going to be traveling to space all the time. So, Tom Train, hell no. Yeah, I think that's like what some of my family members would say, because I always bring this up with them. All right, guys, back into LWLG here. It's a clean hold of the 10 EMA. My only concern is the 17 resistance. We got a 3-candle green setup, and I'm looking for a move above 17. 1 hour for me is about 17.05. We're going to look to hold in this one. I'll stop out 16, below 1660. So keeping a close eye here on LWLG. A bit of a slower mover, but I'm okay with that. AIOS holding the 10 EMA on the 5, and it is ripping up again. Current bar low on AIOS, about $28 on the dot. Current bar high is 31.64. Do the math. That's a lot of range there per 5-minute candle on a name that's up 234%. I don't think we've really cleared any decisive resistance levels, which is 33.87. That's a high of the day. But I'll submit to you, there's a lot of selling in and around 33. So it feels like maybe 33 is a real resistance level. Hard to know. 32.98 limit up. From what I can see right now, 32.98 limit up. Joey, I'm going to send it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so the market's slowly starting to recover. I mean, we had that volatility spike. We're starting to brush that off here. Riot not doing too much. It was up pretty big this morning. We were talking about it around that $19, $18 mark, and you can see we had a high of the day of around 1941, and now a nice bounce back. So flush down here. Is this going to be a good opportunity for us to re-engage and find a potential long? I think so. We didn't get the pullback that we were looking for in the NASDAQ, but you can see this is the second largest volume print of the session. Boom, flush down, flush down. Some nice indecision prints right around the indicator here. You curl over and continue to climb. Now, I'm looking for something along those lines in Meta. All right, if we can get something like that, then maybe I can take an additional long here on Facebook right at VWAP, and you can just get that all-day grinder. I think we'll recover. So I was talking the other day about this. I was just like, oh, hey, there's going to be a session where you do find some form of a recovery here in META, and it happened to be yesterday. Katina Man was long this one. You had that initial selling the first hour or so, you're trading below VWAP, and then sure enough, the rest of the day you continue to grind. You do give some of it back, but holding steady, which isn't bad whatsoever. Now we're just hovering. I think at some point we will continue to break up, forming higher lows, which is a positive sign. If that trend line breaks, then you get out of dodge. But if it's going to participate in this overall market rally, then I definitely like what we have going on there. What guys are going on in the chat? All right. Yeah, nonetheless, guys, what are you looking at? IoT, we can pull that one, not Riot, that is. What was I was gonna pull something up for us so we could take a look at it, but it's just slipped my mind. I'll think about it here momentarily. But Netflix not doing too good here, guys. Now trading back towards the low of the day of 93.83. I thought we'd find more of a recovery, but not necessarily the case right now. Trendline still holding on IBIT, consistent higher lows throughout the intraday session. A little bit more choppy here, but nonetheless, man, not horrible. We're not tanking, which I think is a small W that we can look into. Now, as for the options chain, let's head over there and see what we got going on. I mean, we went into our watch list. We've seen a couple of the names. Let's take a look at the overall market and see where a lot of the size is standing or even currently being traded at here on the SPY and on the NASDAQ. You can do it. You can pull it up. 0 DTEs, 14.8%, but where the most amount of volume is coming in at the money contracts, look at this. Between 723 and 725, you have over 1 million contracts traded. That's quite a bit of size right there, guys, on the SPY. Typically leads the way, right? Now, as for the NASDAQ, you're not going to see as much, but you'll see a lot of size at the money as we currently are. 155,000, 112,000, 240,000 at that $675 marker. But 4% increase in the implied volatility right there. We can head over to next week to see if there's any form of a ceiling. We don't typically see that here, but 680 might be in the works at some point next week. 28,600 contracts at that level with 5,220 opened and closed on today's session. So not too bad. There it goes, the strong recovery in Bitcoin as it's heading towards that previous pivot high, which actually established a lower high on the intraday price action. So I want to see if we can break that level. If that's the case, then who knows? We can go and test the high of the day. I had 45.18 as a specific zone that we could head to here on IBIT.
All right. Stopped out a couple of times here on AIOS. Tried to get the scalps through the highs, but kept getting stopped out. I didn't want to give it all the way down into 28 because that's prior bar low. It was a little too far for me. 27.66 limit down. So this one's a bit of a troublesome one here. Got cut up a little bit on this one. So looking for a proper entry here on AIOS. I'm looking at prior bar low. We have a higher low on this candle, but we also have a lower high. So if you're going to get in here, perhaps maybe try to pick it up towards that, low 29s, mid to low 28s. Here comes low 29s right now. So we're going to keep an eye on this one. Hopefully we'll report something positive back to you guys when we get back from Adara's happening now and Neil's lesson of the day.
NASDAQ right now hanging out near intraday highs, near that 676 level. Here it is to zoom out this NASDAQ on the 15-minute chart, looking even stronger. Let's see if we can make new highs of day. S&P 500 not looking nearly as strong as the NASDAQ, though. This is a market lower high on the 15-minute chart, which, of course, we did not have on the triple Qs. Lots of talk here about the Middle East continuing to happen here with regards to oil. We did have a post as well from U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent about half an hour ago, during which he made a lot of points directed at the Iranian leadership, and he also said the final point here that the blockade will continue until there is a freedom of passage through the Strait of Hormuz, as it was before the U.S. strikes here on February 27th. Let's talk here about President Trump's Truth Social post, which did lead to a little bit of a spike down in the market. Now, going back about 10 minutes, President Trump announcing that tariffs charged to the EU for cars and trucks coming into the U.S. will be increased to 25% as of next week. Tons of earnings on watch. We'll start here with SNDK. SanDisk here, massive year-over-year growth and sequential growth here for revenue for SNDK. Stock, I think, really interesting moves here. We opened around, I want to say 1050 rather. Right now trading around 1100, so lots of volatility here for SNDK on watch. And RDDT, also another earnings report. They blew it out of the park here, whatever, home run here for RDDT when it comes to earnings. International and U.S. revenue up year over year for a total year-over-year gain here of 69%. Tons to talk about today, tons to look at. Apple also reported earnings. We're going to be getting comments from President Trump with senior citizens at 3 p.m. Eastern that will be televised, so could be worth watching here. But before all of that, we're going to take a look at Neil's lesson of the day. Neil, what does the lesson of the day have in store for us?
Well, I mean, the lesson of the day here is we should always prefer the back end to the front end. And that's on the trade, everybody, before we get into like Obi's vernacular. No, in all seriousness, today, the reason I'm saying this, I probably say it all the time, but you know what? Today was actually a really, really good example for myself when I looked at all my executions of more or less every single time that I took a trade where, whether it was long or short, if I allowed it to make a bottom before going long or make a top before going short, all of the wins were waiting for the back end of the move. And every single time I took any hit was because I was in the front end of the move. And it's not that, like, I'm not saying you can't make money getting into something early or anticipating something before it happens. Of course, you obviously could. But just to give you an idea, short a trend break, that works. Anticipate a short into a resistance level. Okay, fine, was able to scalp some out, so it wasn't an abject failure, but still, that was ended up being a losing trade. Allow it to make a topping tail and actually break the trend. That works. I go over to Intel, which, you know, I'm gonna end with Intel, because I think silver is a good example here. This one, I could make the argument that I was pretty patient with the original short to silver, but there weren't, yes, there were topping tails, but there weren't actually any sellers in there. You didn't really get that good of a look, but it was technically close enough to the back end. I did allow it to make a high, so I don't mind that that one didn't work. But when it's all red, where do we get in? Bottoming tail, higher low, break, clean, and then that heads into the upside. And probably the most important one, when we talk about getting away with one today, it was 2 days ago, I believe, on Intel. It was 2 days ago. I think very similar up move, right? And I lost money shorting on Intel. Eventually, okay, fine. It did one good trend break to get some back. But like, that's not the way you want to do it. Today, this morning, you saw me make it high, short once, make a high, topping tail, short again, short again. Like, every single time I got in was not a bad place to have gotten in. There was not a huge follow through, fair enough. But simply not getting short on the way into this candle. Like, if I like 99.5 for some reason, let's just say, if I short into that move, think of the stress that it puts you under. Do you stop out right at 99.5? Do I give it a little bit of a room higher? To not get stopped out there, do I give it a little bit more room? Risk to reward, and then when it doesn't fall through, how much am I really losing on this? You put yourself under a lot of pressure to be so perfect, and especially if it's a large candle. Like, look at when it starts expanding around the $100 level in either direction. If you short into this $100 level, or either way, like you could long in one of these dip moves before it curls, yes, it'll work. But you put yourself under the gun big time. Because at that point, if it doesn't bounce where you're anticipating, if you're off even by a little bit, you get rinsed for everything. But if I'm sitting there, you know, on the way up here, like I was originally looking at, okay, like 95 was the first level. Like, you know, I'm thinking, you know, resistance, and then at that point, it's like the, you know, these prior levels in there. If I'm just thinking it's a short from there, I could have been averaging in 95, 95 half, 96, 96.5, and then it finally does curl right around this level, and then this is all I get back. Think of how perfect I'd have to be in terms of an average price, and then ensuring that I get as much out in the bottom just to make that work. It's a ton of pressure to be able to do that. So it's always a decent idea to be willing to miss the trade to make a trade. And that means as it gets to your key price level, or you're looking for a turn, or you're looking for a curl, have the ability not just to be patient, maybe you wet the beak for like a ridiculously small amount. I prefer to just say, you know what, if there isn't an entry at the price level I like or the area that I like, that's absolutely fine. If it's going to be good, then there should be a setup that I'm able to get myself into. And sometimes that's not the case, and you're willing to miss the trade. But you don't want to be constantly fighting moves where you're just getting long before it's turned, you're getting short before there's any indication that the sellers are taking any control, the buyers are still very much in control. It's a difficult place to be. It's super high stress as a trader. It leads to bigger losses than the size you relatively win. The math is just will bear that one out pretty easily. So just be really, really careful. And I know today, for myself, if I had avoided 3 or 4 entry points, actually it was more like 2 or 3 entries where I'm just getting in before that turn and getting in on the front end of a move and anticipating it's going to turn there, that's the entire difference. It can be perfect on a day if you don't do that. And so I hope that lesson hits for people. I mean, sometimes maybe it is your strategy that, you know, you just You want to layer in, you want to get in the front because you're not trying to miss the move because you like it that much. Fair enough. To each their own, and you got to do what you got to do. But I do find if you can try to get a reversals after the turn has happened, you put less pressure on yourself. You have more obvious stop outs. I do think you lose less oftentimes because you have a better sense of where your out is going to be based on where the turn has happened. So it's easier to manage risk in a situation like that. I'm going to give this beef and sticky rice a 7.4. I haven't had the salad yet, but it was pretty solid. Just too much rice. I can't, there was way too much rice. I'm not going to eat all that carbs for lunch, but pretty tasty. So it was a tasty day there. It's been a tasty day in the markets. That's for sure, up almost a full percentage point. Can't hate on that, but can we hold those gains is the real question. We'll send you back to Joe and Sharif. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you very much for that, Neil. Always informative. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a major question. Is that I think Ozan hit that nail on the head. Sometimes it's like, okay, you hit that goal, and then it's like, hey, what do I do from there? Literally nothing, man. Just hold on to those gains and get out of there. I think that's one of the toughest things because you're like, sometimes you're just like, what? That's it? You hit that target, you're like, that's it. And I understand. A lot of people were telling me in my earlier days is that like, if you're looking for pure satisfaction out of your trading, you might not feel that void. Like, especially when you hit there, you're like, okay, yeah. Sometimes it's too easy, sometimes it's hard, but at the end of the day, it's just like, okay, you hit that goal, get out of there, lock in those gains, and come back the next day. All right, there goes Netflix breaking through the lows here, guys, putting in a new low of the day as the market is starting to climb a little bit lower, 93.63 on NFLX. Bitcoin coming in as well, establishing an additional lower high, and we have Meta holding up the trend line, so I'm going to be keeping my eye on this one. It's kind of going opposite the market right now, so 25.40 could be a potential stop loss for me on this one, but I want to wait here just in case a little bit more indecision and the price action changes a bit here on FBL. That's going to be my vehicle on META. Sometimes that's all you can do when I can get your mind right. Climb lower. Trading is a roller. Yeah, it is absolutely. Just reading through some of the comments. I hear you, pal. So yeah, man, that's what you want to do. Big lunchtime, yeah, exactly. Traders taking profits, big lunchtime rewards, yeah. I mean, yeah, you can climb lower, move lower, right? Or sorry, what should I say? What's that? Rappel down, moving lower. All right, climbing higher, climbing lower. I don't know. Is it really that serious? Yeah, never exit NVDA. It's going to be a giant. Can you take a look at oil? Yeah, for sure. Let's pull up USO, my favorite ticker. We're going to have some news here. All right, let's send it off to Adara.
Yeah, I do have more news, guys. More headlines here out of the Middle East, this time from the foreign minister of Iran, Ergachi, saying that he spoke apparently on the phone with the EU foreign policy chief about the regional situation. I mean, more details, though, here specifically with Iran and the U.S. Those are just the most recent comments. He did say here a couple of minutes ago that, quote, Tehran is ready to pursue diplomacy if the U.S. changes its excessive demands, threatening rhetoric, and provocative action. He also said that the U.S. is the primary cause of any insecurity within the Strait of Hormuz. So strong words here coming from the foreign minister of Iran. Looks like he's still speaking. If I get anything else here of note, I'll let you know. But he did say as well that Iran's military is, quote, completely alert. Back to you.
Yeah, so there it is. I mean, with the market trading a little bit lower off of those highs, you have the NASDAQ put in a new high of the day, but meanwhile, the SPY has put in a lower high. So, yeah, keep your eyes out. I was thinking about a potential short here on RIOT, but you can see that we're bouncing off of this support level. So what we would want to see essentially is the momentum really start to pick up through that specific support zone, 1874, and then maybe you can start to trade a little bit lower on that one. But a nice bounce off of the trend line here on META. Could be a good potential out right here if it just cracks that trend line and you have a 5 or even a 1 minute open up on the backside of this trend, then sure enough, that would be your stop loss on that one for it might continue to move a little bit lower.
All right, man. Yeah, we got cut up pretty hard during Happening Now and Neil's lesson of the day on AIOS. I was trying to catch the bottom on this one. Didn't end up working out. So that one is failing. It looks like it's maybe headed down to 25. I'm in LWLG. I added pretty aggressively to this position because it's yelling flat top break with resistance at 17. It's been awfully respectful of the 10 EMA on the 5, even on the pullback. So I did add into this position. Initially I think in the 80s, we added pretty high. I think I got 89s or something like that, or 90, 91. Looking for a continuation above 17. In fact, my next profit taker is above 17. I think 1703 or 5. It's 1705 high of day. So LW, LG, and focus. Also, Fluffsters. Shout out to Fluffsters. Pardon me. She calls out the good ones. Her newest one here. Essentially, PN. We're going to cover that one in a second because we did get above 17 here on the bid and the ask on LWLG, looking for the print. Nothing coming through so far. Packing the patience. There it goes. High of day, 1705. We're up nicely now on this one. Still negative on the day. Trying to look for continuation, possibly into 17.25. We'll see if we can decisively take out 17. You can't take it out right now. The shorts are clearly earmarking 17 as a bit of a resistance level. So how this cookie ends up crumbling, or whether we make it up into 17.25, 17.5, your guess is as good as mine, but I like this chart pattern. Oops, sorry. I do like this chart pattern, right? Clean hold of the 10. You can see the buyer stepping in there, and then we have that flat top, that resistance level. Now, the only unanswered question is, do the shorts and or the sellers have more conviction at or above 17 than the longs? We will find out shortly. It's not going to take that long to find out. So packing the patience over here, looking for a clean move above 17. It's showing 17.05 now on the ask, 01 on the bid. Let's see if we can take out a little bit more, a little bit higher. So I'm going to put my little beak wetters there. There we go into 08. That's another high of the day. Good look. Taking out baby amount of shares here. Still holding the majority of the position. Looking for a bigger move into 17, and 3/4. Sellers here at 8, can't shake them. Looking basically the same at every level, 8, 9, 10. There's 9 again, Joey. Looking for another move now above 10. We'll take some profits there. LWLG looking good. There's 10. Good. Let's see if we can weasel up a little bit above 10, and then we'll look to take the print. Sellers at basically every level. Oh, the spread just opened up big from 2 pennies down into like 7 or 8. Zigging and zagging right now, to be expected. Looking for continuation through 17, Joe.
Yeah, trust me, Jesse. Don't get me started.
Trust me, bro.
Yeah, trust me, my G.
Bruh. What happened, Joey?
Nothing, my guy. Just gonna hit the. Yeah, shout out to Spice Adams. No, guys, we're looking for something here. What could that next potential trade be? You can see that Netflix continuing its slide, breaking through some of the support. We didn't have that in Riot, but knocking into this resistance zone, we have that breach. Hold on here. What happened here now?
Great call, Bovin.
Yeah, I've got to listen to what Bovin has to say. I might have to slide over to small cap land, small cap India, and see what we got going on for anything for a potential long. We still have this trend line holding up here on IBIT. I mean, the Qs in the SPY are just kind of stuck in no man's land at this point, but we do have Tesla continuing to climb the market, I guess, but it didn't pull back. It wasn't affected, even though I guess Tesla. Well, I mean, what Donald Trump put that Truth Social, the Truth put out, just in regards to tariffs with vehicles, European vehicles. I guess that's not really going to.
Well, quite frankly, that's the least he can do, given how the European regulators treat American companies.
Yeah, so, you know what I mean. So there you go. But yeah, nonetheless, man, I don't have really much going on. We can head over to our watch list and see if we can find anything. I've been talking. I feel like I've talked enough about Netflix, so let's head back over here and see what we got going on. Oracle was strong today. Is it continuing? Yeah, back up to 172. On the grand scheme of things, it's not really a massive recovery, but it's better than nothing. Still down 50% off of that previous high. How's the quantum space been doing? Slight recovery. Someone was saying Salesforce was pretty strong here today.
Really?
I wouldn't really call it, no, I wouldn't really say that, Sharif, to be honest with you. Not looking that great. So watch this name. Watch Mark just get something right here, and then this stock just absolutely takes off. I have some faith in that individual. How's BM&R been doing? Not very good, to be honest with you, Sharif. It is off of those lows, but not very much. You could have picked this name up for 17 bucks. Is it still value at 21.75? Possibly. How about Webull? Yeah, it's still climbing. And Robinhood, that's a name that I actually wanted to look at here momentarily. Oof. $74, man, with a high of 154. Absolutely disastrous here in Robinhood. That is not good. It's going to need to see 100% return here off of that $74 mark just to get back to that previous all-time high of 154. So, yeah, really tough look in Robinhood. How has CrowdStrike been? I know we were hovering around the 468 level, but coming off of that, yeah, 466 was that previous pivot, but we do have that trend line break, multiple tests, and we bounce off of it. So let's see if CrowdStrike can start to recover a little bit more here in the longer picture, Shreve.
Joey.
Yeah, there goes.
My man. There goes LWLG, making it a little bit back here, looking for another move. There it is into the quarter dollar. Here it is back again, a little zig, a little zag. We had 90s on after that big ad. We had initially baby shares, I think in the 70s or 80s, can't quite remember, added right at 88 or 90. Now looking for a bigger move here. This is the HOD. On LWLG, but 17, pardon me, 25, zigging and zagging here. Can't quite seem to clear that level decisively. I think we probably get a bit of a pullback, pardon me, maybe into the whole dollar, so I'm gonna expect a bit of a pullback. That's just my bias. It could be absolutely wrong, and we could be one directional, possibly into 17.5, 17 2/3. I've taken out a good size of the position here. I took it out at the quarter dollar. We're still, I want to say we're holding about a third of the position, okay, from the initial amount that we had. That's after the ad, of course. Initially got in small share size, added on that flat top accumulation, and we're still looking for a little bit more. So I really don't have anything to say. There it goes again into another high of day. 17.28 now. 17.28 at that level, and we're looking for the third of a dollar. Let's go ahead and post a beak wetter here at set third. Oh, wow, it just dropped pretty aggressively into the quarter dollar there. Now the bid opening up, the spread opening up to the tune of 8 pennies here on LWLG. So keeping a close eye on this one. Now, people were yelling about stack because it was stacked with bids, and now it has a bit of a two-topping tail, quite frankly, topping tails. 128 high on that initial pump up, then another attempt here on the 1215 candle, a high of 127, and now this candle, the 1220 candle, it's kind of losing VWAP here. So there's not that many shares trading hands. To be fair, I don't mean that in, I mean it relatively. This is $1.16, right? So it's doing about 1 million shares per 5-minute candle here. But there was no volume, pardon me, from before 1150. Nary any prints there. So a lot of zeros, quite frankly, right before 1115. So STAK in focus. Now, Neil, just for you know what in giggles, how much for a lot or just for AIOS? Just because it's looking awfully flat bottom breakish here, Neil, at right around 27.5, 28. So just to give the viewers an idea of how much it would cost me to short AIOS up here. Not that I would, because it's still above the volume weighted average price, but just to give people quite an idea. And here comes LWLG, as I expected, into the whole dollar. What I'm looking for here is not a strict holding of the $17 area, but a general hold. And what I mean by that is I don't really want to see it lose $16.90, not just because I'm in at that level, but because that's a little bit removed from 17. I need a general 17 hold to say, well, that was the resistance level that we couldn't breach before, 17. Now we've breached it, we're going to use it as support. And here it comes into the 90s. So we're giving up a little bit here. Very pleased that I was able to get out some of the position at the quarter dollar. Not pleased, though, that it's not holding up above 95, showing 93s on the bid, 95 on the ask. Let's keep a close eye out on this one. And the deal is, this loses 90. I'm putting it literally at 89. We will get out there, so we'll give it like 1 penny worth of room. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So we're going to see if that one ends up holding up over here. SP Williams dropping 5 in the chat. We're going to thank you for that. Thank you very much, SP. You guys show up every day. The market is open. That is powerful. Thanks, Sharif. Your thoughts on FCell for a swing. Look, remember we were talking about FCell? I was like, what the hell is going on? How come FCell's ripping like this, right? And it's a lot to do with Bloom Energy. Same thing with Plug Power. They're both in that hydrogen space, even though, quite frankly, Bloom Energy's booming here, not because of their hydrogen fuel cells, but because they were able to get their hands on some gas turbines, which the market is loving at the moment because they, as we've talked about with Caterpillar, they're in short supply. And that's why Caterpillar is doing what it's doing. Above 900 today, by the way. I got stopped out for the last remaining amount on LWLG, but still very positive on it. Negative on the day. Hopefully we'll be able to get out of that. But let's take a quick look here at, was it FCL? Yeah, FCEL. A little bit of a tough day today for the sell. It's down, what's it down here, Joey? About 2 2/3, not a bad look. Let's go to the daily. So obviously this is coming from a lot higher, and there was also a huge split back in November of 24. But I remember FCell from the pandemic, and this thing was like $30 or $50 or whatever it was. My friend Alfred had a monster swing trade on FCell during the pandemic. It was good luck for him. Now, what I do like about this immediately, Joey, is you can see we've cleared that $10 area, and that was an annoying area for many, many months. Basically, from last September, we had a couple of dalliances here above 10, but it would break loose all the way to the downside pretty quickly. So you'd spend a day, 2, 3 above 10, and then right back into the 200 SMA. Purple line, guys, 200 SMA. What is this crap over here? Why is it there? Get out of here. Hide. So that blue line, that's the EMA, the purple line, SMA. Clean holds. You can see here a couple of times, 3 times, in fact, on the 200 SMA. Looks like maybe 6.5, 7 resistance. Look, I got to say, SP, if you get an opportunity for that 10-ish area, I would get in, and I'd give it to 9. Just so that, you know, if there's an outlying day, President Trump tweets something, who knows? And there's a big sell-off, you're not immediately bamboozled. AIOS just lost the flat bottom. It's on the way down to 25. Flat bottom break at 27.50 on AIOS. Be on the lookout for that. That's bleeding its own blood. So what I'd say, SP, is again, in and around this area here. Now, you're going to have to do your own TA, possibly 11.5, because 11.5 is the 10 EMA on the daily. I would be looking for a 10 print of some sort. If you get it, I'd ride it back up. If not, then, you know, we'll have to wait and see. I see President Trump is making he's making moves here, Joey, and he's making waves in the market. So that means we got to send you to the big desk.
The
Ram.
truth, baby.
No, that's the wrong seat, Ram.
USO pushing higher here, guys. President Trump speaking here on the White House lawn. He's headed to Florida this afternoon. So I'm guessing this is as he waits for his plane. He's saying, quote, talks are being held with Iran over the phone, that they are negotiating by phone here. And he said, quote, not sure we're going to get a deal. They said they made strides in the talks, but he's not sure they're going to get a deal. So President Trump indicating there could be no deal with Iran as of now. He said, quote, they want to make a deal, but they are all messed up. Back to you.
We're not laughing at you. We're laughing at what he's saying. Like, so they're messed up, Joey.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously.
The truth, baby.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, bro.
Man.
Yo, he speaks off the cuff. Like, that's just, I don't know. Anyway.
What do you think,
though, Joey? Who the hell are they negotiating with over there,
yeah,
bro?
well, you just see.
Like, you saw the Supreme Leader, that guy's son dropped a comment yesterday. Nobody's seen this dude ever since the strikes happened. People are thinking that he's disfigured.
Yeah,
the intelligence is
apparently
yes, and that's why he's not coming on camera. A lot of people are saying, look, he's not coming on camera because he doesn't want to get clipped. Because everybody who comes on camera seems to get clipped.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah. Hey man, what do you think? They're just gonna roll over and just say, yeah, I don't think that's the case.
China. Ram. Ozan wants the China thing. Can you get? She's gonna find it. All right. Yes, thank you very. Yeah, hey, Ram. We love you, girl.
Ooh. Good mate.
So yeah, Joey, we made a little bit back.
Okay.
We were down half a shutdown on the day.
Oh.
Yeah, now we're a little bit back. Hopefully we'll be able to kind of maneuver a little bit. But hey, you know, red on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, green. And now we're red again. So hopefully we'll be able to finagle something over here.
Ice in the veins.
I'm keeping an eye on sober, Joey.
Netflix sucks, dude.
Netflix?
Yeah.
Oh, now you're on board, huh?
No, I'm a forever. Hey man, listen.
You just said it sucked.
Well, it's sucking today.
Iran's leaders don't get along with each other. President Trump, no? Obviously.
A nice little bounce there on IBIT. How?
Well, the Katina Man says because all the American politicians and leaders get along with each other. We've seen a lot of cohesiveness in Congress lately.
Yeah, well, I
they're
mean,
all on the same page.
Scott Bessent just literally gave the comparison of rats in a sewer.
Yeah, he did.
So,
but quite frankly, yeah. I mean, I'm not seeing a lot of cohesiveness in politics anywhere lately. In this country, we're very divided as well. You know that. I think European politics is similar. And then, you know, the Middle East, you don't speak out. You get clipped. So, right? So they got a log there because nobody wants to speak out. Right?
That way.
But that's kind of the thing. Guys, we just saw a lot of movement here on AIOS. As soon as I talk politics, I love the chat. Fluffy, American leaders get along. Are you being sarcastic? Yes, Fluffy, that is my love language. Do you not know me by now? I'm sarcastic most of the time, 95%. Right? Eddie, and the White House just spreads love all around the world. No, they don't, Eddie.
Who said?
Eddie, Eduardo.
What did he say?
He's like, and the White House just spreads love to the world. No, they don't. They don't. They're very, America's going at it alone, brother.
Almighty J, are you the Almighty J?
Who?
He said just loving the channel, subscribed yesterday. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let me get the seriousness in, a little bit of fun.
And we're, you know, like we have our own political philosophies, but I'm very open and respectful of other people on the other side of the political spectrum.
Man.
Because if you're not, I think that's just a general mistake.
Yeah, I mean,
frankly.
it can be classified as somewhat ignorant. I mean, if you're not willing to have your an open mind, but nonetheless, I don't really get involved because sometimes when you get into those conversations, it just goes down the wrong road.
It is, especially with family. But the thing that I always try to draw the line on is I may think differently than you, but that doesn't mean I have to dislike you. And that's where I feel like a lot of people are failing these days, right? Is like
I just have one request, a little less tax, and then I'd be cool.
Pardon me?
A little less tax is my only real request.
Yeah, my own political philosophies, I want the government out of my life and out of my pocket, right? That's just like the two things that I ask for. But
what's our good friend Olivia Chow? She drives me nuts.
She's fantastic, Joey. I won't hear of it. All right, guys. I'm watching here LWLG. I'd like to weasel back into this. Fluffy, are you still holding Wolf? Because Wolf is looking quite good here. Formed a bit of a base at around 34 1/3, I want to say, generally, and now it's putting a couple of green candles here with a 35.69 high. I don't mind you're asking too much, Fluffy. Give me your opinion on Wolf, Fluffy, because I'm thinking about working into this with a stop below the area low here. That would be that doji candle at 12.20, the low of which is 34.30. That gets me out of the trade. It's showing 34.73. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about there, Fluffy, but I'm worried a little bit that we might have some resistance at 35. That's my thinking there. Joe, can you break down Reddit?
Yeah,
$5 super chat. Thank you so much, Plaza.
It's actually one of the names that I didn't read up on the report. So I just want to see a couple of things, but I'm pretty sure it was really good. But the stock might be down. I wouldn't be surprised with this Reddit army. It was another name that, I mean, speaking from its IPO, which wasn't too long ago, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, in March of 24, so a little bit over a couple of years. So it's been in the market, and it's been a pretty good performer. Right, like, and I mean, you have the Reddit army and everything along those lines. So, yeah, it's still down 287. That's a pretty hefty haircut, 43%. But as long as you have your monthly active users continuing to grind higher, which in the name it is, we'll probably talk about it later on here. But yeah, Reddit is a name that I'm actually. Like, I wouldn't say it's a horrible stock, to be honest.
You know what they're calling themselves now?
What?
Data as a service, like DaaS instead of SaaS.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's what the earnings report.
There you go. All right, let's send things over to Adara.
Yeah, just be aware here, guys. Keep an eye here on FLYQQ. This is the, if I could type in the ticker correctly, this is going to be the Spirit Airlines, I guess. Oh, now I can't even pull it up. Pink Sheets ticker, but President Trump saying that they'll have an announcement on Spirit Airlines later today. So again, keep an eye here on Spirit Airlines. Just be aware here, guys. Apparently they're going to be making an announcement later today. It's FLYYQ. I apologize, FLYYQ. On watch here again, Pink Sheets. This is moving around as President Trump says they're still looking at Spirit Airlines, considering a buyout. They'll give a final proposal. Also says the visit to China will be great, and that the Strait of Hormuz is quote 100% shut down. Back to you.
I think that there is going to be a lot of discussions between President Xi and President Trump regarding this trade. A lot has been made that President Xi is exercising power behind the scenes with whatever sway or influence he has with the Iranian regime to open up the trade, because China and Asia is suffering more from the lack of oil. Forget about the price. The price is high for everybody, right? But we actually have the physical product here, right? Venezuela, the United States' own. We have our own. President Trump also signed an EO yesterday. Saw about that pipeline.
The pipeline.
And they're going to use part of the Keystone XL as well, not all of it, but parts of it. So we have supply. So President Xi speculating that they're going to be really kind of looking at that a bit more thoroughly. And when are we expecting them? A couple of weeks, right? 14th
the meeting.
15th,
I know it was postponed from the last time.
Pardon me?
I mean, China's banned Bitcoin. Or you're not allowed to mine Bitcoin, I believe, in some parts of China anymore. Only Hong Kong, maybe. I know a while ago, a couple of years ago, is when they're banning that thing. Yeah, no BTC, exactly. So you're not allowed having that. I mean, continuing to slide here is Netflix, just absolutely getting walloped here, guys. 93.20 and still on the downward momentum side of things here for NFLX. Tesla's still hovering around the high of the day. And then now we have the SPY south of the volume weighted average price, USO, putting in a new high of the day a couple moments ago. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for signs of strength, it's definitely not going to be in Netflix. Do we want to try and catch this falling knife for some form of a pullback here? There's a nice indecision print off of the lows here on NFLX, but that's a risky one. It looks pretty good here for a potential bottom. But again, it's just kind of, you have to be cautious of this because look at the pullback here, right? So it's maybe you get a break of this previous 5-minute high and somewhat of a move up into 93.40. But other than that, it just looks like it wants to continue to bleed a little bit. So what's it looking like on the daily? Yeah, not good. And we talked about this shelf at $91 the other day. I think at some point it's going to break through. It's going to take some time for this name to recover.
All right, guys. Q is another one that I've been keeping an eye on here. Let's bring it in. I'm still watching Wolf. I'm watching it here for a 35 clean break, but just based on what we saw from LWLG, the fact that it couldn't hold 17 and a quarter, and then drops back down. I'm not saying they're the same thing. It's just I don't want to be trying to take the 35 breakout, then just have a whole bunch of shorts run me over. But I'm keeping a close eye here on Wolf. But Q as well, CUE. Look, you know, this one was a monster yesterday. What I do like about Q here for all the swing traders who are interested, this is not giving up the ghost, right? Like we see this usually with these small cap gappers. Like look what did it over here, Ram. It like woke up at 950, rocketed up to 30, and by when all was said when done, we were back in the mid-teens. So it gave it up pretty quickly. A bit of a different tune from today and yesterday. Look at this. This is pretty clean here. So CUE, looking like it's got a lot of resistance, quite frankly, at 35, and you can see that double top from the aftermarket yesterday around 620, and then this morning as well, right before the implied balance open. I think we got to the high around 915 into 35, but I'm buoyed by the higher lows. Every time it dips down, it's being bought up. So Q could be, you know, I'm not suggesting, we're never going to suggest to you guys trades that you should take or financial advice and investments, but this one is looking like a possible good swing over the weekend, especially if it holds these lows, right? So we're going to keep an eye on that, CUE, and it's good for intraday as well. It's getting through that 32 kind of double top, and then it could squeeze into 35. Expect resistance, though, should that happen, right around 35. I think we have more news, so we're going back to Adara.
We're calling President Trump here, guys. INTC and watch as President Trump says, quote, we made about $40 billion on the Intel deal. Prior, he said about $30 billion. But either way here, President Trump very excited about INTC, which continues to trade just below 100. Furthermore, more comments about Iran, saying, quote, hardliners in Iran want to make a deal too. As he said earlier, he was not happy with Iranian leadership here in terms of the deals they want to set. He said that he'd like to make a deal with Iran, but it might not be possible. Those comments coming up a couple minutes ago. Also talking about AI and Anthropic specifically here, saying their meeting with Anthropic was, quote, very good. Back to you.
Yeah, should be interesting to see if they can mend that relationship. Obviously, Anthropic, let's just be honest about it, man. They've got the best model right now, whether you're looking at it for defense or enterprise. I got to tell you, Joey.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, man. I want to read a couple of things here. So I sent this to Brendo in the morning.
In regards to Anthropic.
Altman. This is about OpenAI. I'm going to read this.
Okay.
I want to be able to show it, but take over for a sec so I can actually put the visuals
pull all that
on.
Stuff up.
That's all right.
Our military loves Claude. Yeah, I mean, it's taking the world by storm. I started to use Claude. Jose in the back got me using it, and I literally just prompt in it quite often. It's like, okay, refine, get it to create batch files for me. It essentially does everything, man. It's such a fantastic tool, in my opinion. I still use Gemini. I heard you guys, Brendan and Sharif talking about, like, you guys drastically reduced your use of ChatGPT. Yeah. I don't even pull it up anymore, man.
I use it for something. Can I say one thing?
Actually, I'll get it in the morning sometimes to like spit out earnings report. As you said, the voice thing. The voice
thing is really good.
Yeah,
okay, so I've mentioned that.
Yeah.
Here's what a lot of insiders said about Sam Altman during the New Yorker's investigation. Ask us, if we can. This is, look, obviously this is one side. It's not showing any of the good comments about him, but his reputation isn't that great. Let's start with it. So a lot of people are unnamed because they want it to remain anonymous. Some people are named. I think there's a small but real chance he's eventually remembered as a Bernie Madoff or a Sam Bankman-Fried level scammer. A lot of these comments are going to be about his honesty or lack thereof. So he's unconstrained by truth. He has two traits almost never seen in the same person: a strong desire to please people and an almost sociopathic lack of concern for the consequences of deceiving someone. So truth, again, comes in here. And then this guy, Aaron Schwartz, he's a computer programmer, I guess, for OpenAI. You need to understand that Sam can never be trusted. He's a sociopath. He would do anything. These are obviously their opinions. And then Ilya Sutskever, if you know who Ilya is, if you're in the AI, this guy he's up here. I don't think Sam is the guy who should have his finger on the button. We all know, well-documented falling out between Ilya Sutskever and Sam Altman.
Who's Ilya Sutskever?
He's a monster, bro.
What does he do?
Well, he's a programmer. He's like an AI guy.
Okay.
Altman follows a policy of Sam first. He sets up structures that on paper constrain him. This is interesting here. I like this one from Aaron Wainwright. He's a former OpenAI researcher. He sets up structures that on paper constrain him, but when the future comes and it's time to be constrained, he does away with whatever the structure was. And then this is Sue Yoon. She's a former board member. We all know what happened with the board in Altman, right? He's too caught up in his own self-belief. He does things that if you live in the real world make no sense. He doesn't live in the real world.
There's a lot of negative stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I prefaced that. I said this is going to be entirely one-sided, that we're not going to hear the good comments about him.
To call him a Madoff or Sam Bankman,
pretty intense.
Yeah, I think that's pretty intense. I don't know if he has that form of a scam going on that those individuals had.
It feels a little bit different there, but I think what he's trying to say is that the build-out for AI was going to reap so much in terms of revenue, and we just really haven't seen that.
I've been saying that, like, hey, man, I don't know. I think things can turn around because we've seen it in other tools. I'm not gonna obviously kick him to the curb and say that he's not going to have the ability to kind of hit these valuations and meet some of the obviously spending that he has, right, and turn things around to where he can monetize it. I think he can. It's just slow paced right now. He's been first to market. At one point, this was the best tool out there, right? The best AI tool. Just because he fell off a little bit and is lagging in some departments, I wouldn't be surprised if it can rebound. But the way people speak about him, it's not that good.
I see what you're saying, sold at 844. I'd rather not speak about that on here just because, it's not tasteful.
Yeah, no.
And I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to beat that up anymore. Guys, Wolf is ripping here. This looks really good. Wolf looks fantastic, 35.75. Fluffy, I should have listened to you. I should have been getting in south of 35. It was a clean hold off that 34.50, and here we are again, right into the high of the day. Fantastic look for Wolf. We're up over 20% and going on 21 now. So I'm going to try to finagle a trade into Wolf. I got to tell you guys, I don't like anything right now. Nothing really is trending in the right way, save and except for Wolf. We're going to try to enter this trade. But for now, we've got to send you to Adara.
More Trump talks here, guys. President Trump saying over the last couple of minutes that the U.S. is not leaving the Strait of Hormuz right now. As we know, a couple of minutes ago, he said it's 100% blocked or shut down. He also once again touted highs in the U.S. stock market. Back to you.
Yeah, well, the Q's made all-time highs, the SPY's all-time. Are we all-time high in the LWM? Let's have a look. Whoa, flat top brewing here on the IWM. Oh, baby. Swing trade alert, swing trade alert. Who is this, Mitch? Let's go. Look at this, flat Joey. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
Bare resistance here. Unusual, distinctly different, as Obi would say. This looks awfully good here.
I think it breaks out.
Oh, yeah. IWM, I think especially, you say rate cuts too. Your boy Warsh comes in. He cuts rates. This thing rockets. IWM looking fantastic. DBS, Pooty, Tang M. What is happening?
Danny boy.
Thank you for the $5 super chat, DPS, Pooty, Tang M. FYI, FlyYQ, talking about Spirit, of course, is up 39% since Adara broke the news on it 6 minutes ago. Are we going to be able to because it's got, okay. So this one on our system may not be permissible at the moment because it's got to open up, but we can definitely look at it. FLYYQ. Do I have permissions for this? Because I canceled a lot of permissions. Let's see if it's delayed. What's the time here, Joey? Let's flip to the one so I can figure out if this is delayed or not. What's that? 12:29. Yeah, this is well delayed. Sorry, guys. It's going to be 15-minute delay. I don't have permissions for this one. I did cancel it on my brokerage here because I wasn't really using OTC. Let's see if we can pull it up over here. I don't want to take AIOSS off. Okay. YQ. FLYYQ. What's the PK? Thank you, Katina Man. PK. Thank you. There it is. Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much for that, Katina Man. Yeah, now we're seeing that. Look at that flat top breakthrough 60, ripping up above $1. Bless you, Neil. 110 high, it looks like, or one. Why is it telling me the high is 140? Oh? I'm not sure why it's telling me the high is 140, but in any event, it's 110 high, guys. Trade this carefully. Keep your eye out on the spread. It's a tight 1 penny right now. Volume, good amount of volume coming in lately since that headline, basically from 12:30 onwards, so about 15 minutes. Then about 9.75 million shares of volume on FLYYQ on the pink sheet. So keep your eye out on that. Joey, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm about to hop in some meta here. I like this trade. It's going to go one way or the other. I understand that the market's moving lower, but as soon as we crack this, so it's going to work either relative. It might take a little bit longer to work, but I have a feeling that we'll know when we're wrong quicker. All right, so I'm just using this trend line. We're bouncing off it on multiple occasions, but if it cracks it, then we just get out of Dodge. I'm going FBL, that is our platform says it's 1.5 leverage, but when I'm looking at other ones, it says 2x. So yeah, that's what we got going on there. Netflix still continuing to slide and Bitcoin moving lower. SoundHound continuing, we have that up on our charts, in TSLL performing pretty good here today. Tesla, that is. Apple back towards VWAP, and then also, what was another name? Google, that I wanted to slowly talk about here. Just hovering. I mean, it's been putting in continuous all-time highs over the past week or so. Gap up after the earnings report and just continued to move here. So I'm not surprised that we're seeing somewhat of a breath within the stock. It's nice to go up all the time, but that's not necessarily the case. So yeah, let's see what we have here, man. Is the market going to have the ability to climb a little bit higher? It's not good because USO is on the move. And when it's climbing higher, you have that inverse correlation start to kick in here on USO. It is off of that 143.51 level, but bouncing off of the volume-weighted average price with a bunch of indecision prints at that marker. And then also we have some pre-market zones as well. So we'll keep that in our back pocket. We were at 150 not too long ago. What a bounce off of 111. That's a big time move, 35%, and only a couple of red days in between if we even want to classify this one right here at 131. So yeah, I mean, oil totally in play. Yeah, I'm not in love with the inverse correlation between the two, but that doesn't matter. Right, the market's moving lower. Let's see if we can bounce on it. And we also have VWAP acting as a resistance zone. So let's pull that up for you and see. We'll draw our trend line, and then once that cracks, we'll get right out of it. We had a nice little trade on it earlier today. So let's see if we can go back to our winners and see if they're going to continuously work for us. That's one thing. If it works once, hopefully it can work twice. And if not, then third time is most definitely going to be a charm if we can find a right direction on that. Thoughts on CMI? Energy play has been very bullish this year. Party P. Hey, I haven't seen you in the chat in a while, Party. Let's see CMI. Pull this one up.
I was just looking at it. It looks decent on the daily, Joey.
Okay, Cummins. All right. Yeah, I mean, that's not the engine maker, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, it looks pretty good, man. There's so many other plays outside of the tech trade and even currently oil. Like, look at this chart. This is really, really good, man. If you ask me, it's essentially, I want to even zoom out a little bit more and see what we have from a monthly perspective. And yeah, I mean, talk about insane performers. This is a name that you would definitely want to get involved with over a long period of time. I mean, it's just steady. You do have some pullbacks in between, but look at this on the monthly. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like a full year of just straight up and to the right, and then you just have this massive gap up here and coming. So, I mean, it's looking really good. I'm not going to complain about that from an investment standpoint. It's the exact same as Caterpillar as well. Caterpillar has been absolutely fantastic, and we talk about the build-out quite often, and where you're going to get into the picks and shovels. Well, yeah, guess what? Starting right here, man, Caterpillar, having all the heavy equipment that you need in order to build this stuff out. Yeah, I like Cat. What's DE been? DE hasn't been as strong though. Yeah, DE hasn't been performing. It's not bad,
play,
but it's not Caterpillar, right? So yeah. Cat is him right now. Facebook climbing a little bit, bouncing off of that trend line. Let's go, man. We have a flat top roughly around these neck of the woods, Sharif. Trend line hold. Even though there is a little bit of resistance and we do have some whipsaw moves, if we break through and that momentum and volume kicks in, off to the races we go on Facebook. Bang, there it is, a little uptick there. We'll take that as we have print 61s. We're long from 59s. Let's see. Netflix can't find a bottom right now, my friend.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Bovin saying FIVN. Is that FIVN moving up? Let's have a quick look at FIVN. Couple of new positions there. Great call out, Bovin. That looks very clean. It's just a matter of who we're going to take out here. Take off, I should say. CRWD, not even really a small cap capper. Thank you for that, Bovin. All right, we're in at Wolf. Fluffy, I got into Wolf finally. Showing 50s here on the ask. We're in at 37s, 45 on the bid. I'm looking, there's 60 now on the ask. The bid is not moving though. The bid is not moving. Staying at 45. Looking for an attempt of the high of day breach. Let's see what we got over here. Not really anything to write home about at the moment, but looking for a bigger move up and a clean hold of 35 and the 10 EMA on the 5. See if we can wet the beak here super quick. Let's see if we can get the mid print. Yeah, we did get it. Nice. Got 55s there. That was pretty good. Keeping an eye on that. Don't hold me responsible, but sometimes if the mountain won't come to Muhammad, then Muhammad must go to the mountain. I like that, Fluffy. I like this one too. Into 64, Wolf goes, Fluffsters. You called it out again. Appreciate you, Katina Man. Looking for a bigger move here. Into 75, that is the high of the day. Simultaneously, we're back into LWLG. We got 01 showing 07s. I'm looking for another attempt here at the $0.25. It's a 17.28 high. You'll recall we were involved in this one, lost trend, so we got the hell out of there. And here we are again fighting with the sellers at 17s. We can't seem to shake on a closing basis. The other one, Bovin, you called this one out. Bovin the OG calling Uno. UONE. No, I know that's not Uno, but into the high of the day it goes. Up almost 30% here, 678, pardon me, into the high. Not great on volume though, like per 5-minute candle, we're doing like 4,000, 10,000 shares. That's a little too light here for me, but FIVN, the other one Bovin is calling out, and look at AIOS rip up, breaking trend, guys, for the love of God. Watch out for the lower high here. We've been suckered into these so many times over the past month or two, right? We see the downtrend respects the downtrend line, rockets up, only to make that lower high, 31, not to reach 34, 33, 87, technically a high day. Watch out. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but that has been an eventuality of these ones a lot lately, right? Where it makes that lower high, then it ends up failing, likely 25. But AIOS seems to be back over here for the moment. Whether it continues, your guess is as good as mine. We're going to keep a close eye here on WOLF as it rips up into another high of day. Good look here on WOLF 78. That's a new high of day. Let's see if we can work into that we're already at 3/4, Sharif. Relax. We're looking for that whole dollar now into 36. Chill out, brah. Showing good spread here between the bid and the ask here, Joey. And there it is into another high of day. Into 88s. Give me my money, man. Into 90. 35.90 now on the Wolfed one. Let's see if it can hit into the whole dollar. What do we have on? We got 37s, 90 on the ask right now. Looking for that whole dollar. Still holding a couple of beak wetters. Packing the patience.
Yeah, all right. We got a 5.
Oh, sorry, I gotta cover this. UONE, guys, be careful with this. Sorry to interrupt, Joe, but this has just rocketed up again. From 687.25, it's on the breakout now. It's very low volume, so you're gonna really be careful. But the move is on right now on UONE.
All right, let's get into this super chat here. £8 there, 8 quid, or 4 quid, sorry, I should say 5 quid. All right, looking at race with the EU-US trade war escalating, isn't the risk to reward a short huge here? 350 fails, is there any support before 300? So I did pull up race and I was taking a look at it. See, the thing is though, the way that I'll look at this specifically is that if you can afford a Ferrari, 25% isn't going to really do too much. Obviously, the stock hasn't been performing. I don't know how you look at it, Sharif, but the chances are if you have the ability to buy this car, it's like 25%, okay, yeah, whatever. I mean, obviously, it's not small potatoes, but if you're in that neck of the woods, the stock hasn't been performing well. But
I was talking to Sia about this yesterday. You want to hear some anecdotal things about Ferrari?
Yeah.
So what I was saying to Sia was, like, Ferrari is very much like Rolex. Not obviously, they don't sell the same product, but you don't go in to a Rolex dealership or store and say, I want your best model. They're gonna laugh and they're gonna tell you it's not available. And what they'll tell you is, hey, Joe, I don't have that model for you today, but I've got this one.
Yeah.
The point is, you have to work your way up into the model. They're not gonna give you the best model right away.
Didn't they dish that, though?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
No.
Who did though? Somebody recently did that, where it's like that work. I thought it was them. Anyways,
No, they're still doing that. I can tell you why, my friend, lately. Anyway, so Ferrari was very much the same way. You want to go in, you want the best model. That's cute. It's a nice dream to have. But here's what we've got for you now.
Yeah.
You're gonna take this one. You're not gonna alter it, otherwise we'll ban you. Ask Mayweather, right?
Oh, did you get banned?
You got banned. You can't buy Ferraris anymore or Lambos.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you take what they've got, Sia, and Sia's with us right now, and usually you sell it. And then you go back and you're like, okay, you know, I had it. Can I get the other one now? And you work your way up.
Yeah.
Ferrari's not doing that anymore. You're able to get their best brand.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was
Sorry, I was getting to it. That's the point I was trying to get to.
Okay, yeah.
And now you're able to get one of their better models right from the jump.
From the jump, yeah. I mean, to entice.
Even their for like Ferrari race business in the Formula One sector, they did perform pretty bad in the year 2025 with their cars. They got a lot of criticism, and this was carrying over from 2024. So now that all the cars are like updating their engines, Ferrari is probably in a good position. We don't know. There's quite a lot of. I'm excited for their earnings on the 4th of May, honestly. 5th. Looking forward to it.
You're a big Formula One fan, correct?
Yes.
Who are their drivers? Leclerc and someone else, right?
It's Lewis Hamilton right now and Charles Leclerc.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot that Lewis. He left Mercedes. I didn't know he went with. I was going to say, but can't you also just go to a used car? Whoa,
yes,
there goes
I'm
Facebook.
talking about buying new. Yes.
Yeah,
you can always get whatever you want used.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a big spike up there in FBL. We played that trend break there, a massive move there, massive. Let's go over to Adara, but a nice uptick. Bartoli, let's go.
UAL, I guess taking advantage of Spirit Airlines' situation here, saying that, quote, we are preparing to support Spirit Airlines customers and employees in the event of a shutdown. So basically saying if the airline closes, hey, customers and employees, come over here. They said they'll likely have more to share later. As we know, President Trump also planning on maybe intervening here. As he said, they're going to get an announcement by later today, but FLYYQ, that is the ticker here for Spirit Airlines. Again, this is, I believe, on the pink sheets, still up. Not on the day, but certainly from that spike we got when President Trump started talking about the stock. Back to you.
What do you think? You think Spirit should be acquired?
Yeah, I don't see why.
Have you seen some of the videos?
It's hectic.
Hectic. Do you think an acquiring company wants that?
I mean, you can clean it up.
Well, you're going to have to increase fares, though.
Yeah, I'm not going to say
like,
it's going to be easy. But the volume, though, right? Like, if the volume...
Well, that's a good point,
right? The volume of Spirit Airlines, I think, is something good. But yeah, I mean, that's
I've seen too much. Joe, I got to... Wolf is ripping up. We're taking $1 here on Wolf into the high, 36.30. Thank you, Katina, man. Always appreciate the vibes. 36.35 HOD right now on WOLF. Shout out to Fluffsters. Fluffy Hippo. Great call out by you.
The other...
Good look.
Wow.
Good look here on Wolf. Guys, AIOS, Look, it's got a lower high right now, but it's also got a higher low on this current 5 AIOS, man. If it starts trending into 32.5, I want to say 33, this is back on, okay? If it makes a lower high, then it makes a lower high. I'm not touching this until it gets close to the high of the day because I've been burned on these ones a lot. That break trend and then just end up giving me a lower high, and then we end up getting a loss at the flat bottom, and then I end up going really red on it. So not gonna touch this one until it gets into around 32.5, 33. If it does, then we probably break that 33.87 high a day, and that gives me some room maybe to 40, who knows, right? But I'm not touching it until that clears, Joey.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, others. I thought you had that Gulf Stream there.
Who am I, Doug Ford?
With the Gulf Stream?
You heard about that?
Does he have one?
He bought a Bombardier.
Oh, yeah?
For the province, not for himself, right? It was for the province, and people lost their mind, right? People like, this guy's tone deaf. There's a cost of living crisis. He's out here buying airplanes. We're gotta go to Adara.
My type of guy.
Keep an eye here in TSLA and META. As Joe mentioned here, a bit of a move in Facebook, maybe even a bigger move here in TSLA if this wick is real. Seeing reports that Meta is buying an AI robotics firm to develop humanoid technology. We know TSLA with their Optimus robots certainly already in this space. So TSLA on the move here amidst competition from Meta, at least reportedly, with META buying an AI robotics firm again to develop humanoid technology. Back to you.
That's interesting.
Sammy, why did I call him that?
Did Meta move on that? Or?
Yeah, it did. It got a big, that was that uptick right there a couple of minutes ago. And then it's starting to come back in a little bit here. So, yeah, I mean, nonetheless, I don't even, what can we even really say about Zuck trying to get into maybe potentially the robotics, acquiring a robotics company, so.
Well, he's got his hand in a lot of cookie jars, quite frankly.
Well, he does, and only one of them has been a big success. But
advertising?
Yeah, social media.
Guys, UONE is not giving it up here, and I was talking crap about this. The volume's low, the spread is wide. All that's still true, okay? It's still south of 1 million shares, but the chart pattern is what it is, you know? I'm not responsible for that. So current bar low is where we're at right now, 711 or 707. Prior bar low, 670, the volume weighted average price. But you've got successive higher lows here, especially since 1240. So the better part of 20 minutes here, UONE, Bovin. Good call out by you, my man. GUR apparently is moving up according to Bovin as well. That's GRRR. But I'm fixated here on UONE, especially if it starts holding these higher lows on a per 5-minute bar basis. I definitely want to see if I can finagle a trade into this. Maybe a squeeze into 8, who knows, 10, especially if there may be some shorts sitting up around here. Let's take a quick look and find out from Perplexity what the short float, or maybe around the short float, is on UONE. UONE short float. Go, hurry up, Perplexity. The price is moving up. Very low, man. Urban 1. No, it doesn't have a good short float here. 0.2% to 0.6% with one finance. Okay, one finance site is showing 24.52 on later key statistic snapshots that likely reflects a different calculation or older alternative float basis. Okay, not very comforting in terms of the information there. You could give it to below 7, maybe like mid 690s in case you get wicked out. I'm going to actually do that. Let's see if we can weasel into this, Joe. I'm going to give it to like 695 for small shares. Watch me get stopped out immediately. It's gonna stop me out already,
Ryan,
bro.
You're supposed to leave, man. So I want to talk about this.
I didn't even get in.
This
oh, it's
Facebook?
blocked. I think it's blocked.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's probably why.
Because it probably doesn't do that much volume, yeah.
So as for towards that, and we put an indecision print right above kind of the breakout zone and right at this trend line. So let's see if we can bounce a little bit more. I'll talk about it one more time, down to 92 here. But if this breaks, then we just have to get out of that trade. That was a strong uptick, but no follow through as the overall market. Once those oil headlines start to drop, it just really, I find it's just like, hey, are we going up? Are we going down? It just becomes an absolute chop fest. So just be cautious of that, guys. We're going to remain in this trade until we're on the backside of this indicator. That's what we have going on. We had one successful trade earlier in the day on it. That doesn't even really matter. Forward upticks all the way up into 79s, and we were in off of the lows at 25. So, yeah, that was a missed opportunity. let's be patient. Let's allow this trade to work and see if we can find a bottom on Netflix. It's going to take some time, maybe around 2 o'clock, 2:30. You might find some form of a pullback here or a bounce off of support levels. So yeah, I want to see actually where that is exactly on NFLX. Oh, so we're not even close. 91.21. So like that $91 mark is where more or less where we can find some potential support. But there goes Facebook heading right back in. I think it's going to break the trend line here momentarily.
You keep tripping me out every time you say Facebook.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Nobody says that anymore.
It's because I'm in
right?
FBL,
I know,
so I just
know.
keep saying Facebook.
I know. It's just like, I haven't called it Facebook in a while, man. Yeah, I'm watching GUR, but this is what I wanted to point out, guys. When I started yelling about the lower highs, I'm talking from bitter experience. And look at this. This is exactly what I meant. It lures you in. A trend line break. You think, you know, the long's back in focus over here. Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, and a bunch of lower highs. All of a sudden, you get that bid. That bid rockets up. In this case, $5 from 27 to 32. Look what it's doing now, right? So these are, and funny enough about this, I used to actually look at this chart pattern as awfully bullish because for a while, this chart pattern was paying. When you had a decided trend break like that on the 5, it would curl up and take out highs. But that hasn't been the case, I want to say, for like a month and a half, 2 months. So AIOS and focus. Bovin talking about GUR. Again, GUR, GRRR, guys. Good day yesterday, good day on Wednesday as well. This has been a multi-day runner, looks like since the 28th, but a little bit low on vol. So you're going to have to, you know, factor that in to your trade plan. But GRRR, 1568 high of day, looks pretty good, man. Just the only caveat that I would throw in that is that it's light on vol. But Bovin, another call out by Bovin. Bovin calls a lot of great trades. FIVN, this one broke out in the aftermarket yesterday. Earnings, I don't care. But a very, very clear uptrend today and very, very respectful of trend. Only one breach of the 10 EMA that happened at 11:55 and 12, and it was quick to retrace right above it. So FIVN, another trade here for the small cap gapper inclined, right into the high of the day, 22.90, fluffy. I hope you're trading better than me on Wolf, because Wolf just keeps taking out levels. Into 36.60 it goes. It's on the way to 37. So WOLF in focus as well. There's a lot going on right now, guys. A lot of good names moving at the moment. Trade them carefully. And we are going to start, Joey, as it is now 1:06, the new segment with Sia.
Let's start by talking about Apple has reported an EPS beat of $2.01 versus $1.95 estimated. Its revenue currently at $111.18 billion versus $109.66 billion that was estimated, which is up 17% year over year. Now, we do know about the technicals of the earnings, but let's also take into consideration that CEO Tim Cook in the earnings call also warned of memory shortages that are intensifying. And he said that he'll be looking at a couple of options to fill that gap despite Apple exceeding its revenue growth for fiscal Q2 by 17%. The board has authorized a $100 billion buyback and a dividend that has been raised by 4% to 27 cents. China revenue also currently stands at $20.5 billion, which is 28% up year over year. With that being said, like I mentioned, memory costs are expected to rise due to the significant shortages of chips across the sector, and R&D is up 33% because of their increased AI spending. Currently, Apple up on the day by 4%.
Okay, so I have a lot of comments about this. So the first and the foremost, the stock was basically doing nothing until the call came on, and then Tim Cook went through his entire prepared remarks with his spiel. The stock didn't do anything. Then the CFO got on. It's not Mastery Luca anymore. It's this other guy now. Kayvan Paraka? I'm probably butchering it. But he said something that the stock immediately rocketed up on. I was watching the price action with the call, net cash neutral. So essentially what Apple has been doing since 2018 is the amount of cash that they bring in, they didn't want to hoard cash. So they wanted their cash and their debt to offset. So if they had, I'm just giving you any numbers out there, 180 billion in cash and they had 80 billion in debt, they would take 100 billion of that and do stock buybacks so that their cash 80 would be equivalent with their debt 80. That's not going to be the case anymore. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be fiscally responsible and try to keep a sound balance sheet, but what it means is they could be buying shares back more aggressively, and or they could be aggressively spending into R&D for new products. And that would jive with what we've been hearing a lot from the rumor mill about the plethora of different products that Apple's going to drop this year. So you kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together, okay? So that's my first thing. The second thing is the Mac Neo blew demand out of the water. They couldn't keep up with the demand. They were not ready for that kind of demand. They had underestimated it. So apparently school systems are switching. The one that was given on the call yesterday was a Kansas school district or something like that, switching from MacBooks and Windows laptops into these Mac Neos. And that makes sense, $599, and it's cheaper for students, $499, so they get a $500 entry into the Apple ecosystem. The other thing is the invisible $100 billion buyback math. What do I mean by that? While the $100 billion authorization kind of is already huge, what's underreported about this $100 billion is that it buys back about 42 million shares. Well, the buyback of those 42 million shares actually increased EPS by 22%, artificially, right? Nothing to do with actual profits. And when you look at the EPS increase of 22% and juxtapose that to the 17% revenue increase, how the hell do you have a 17% revenue increase and a 22% EPS growth? Unless, of course, there is that accounting where you're buying back shares. So that's my third point there. And then it looks like the iPhone Pro 17 and Pro Max doing very well in China. It's apparently the highest selling what's it called? Premium handset. And then last but not least, the CapEx advantage. Meta and others, $180 billion to $200 billion in CapEx spend for AI in the year, an entire $13 billion for Apple.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of expected this here from Apple. We talk about Tariff and Sarah both talking about the new MacBook there, the cheaper version, obviously exceeding demand, which I think is a smart thing from Apple to do, is essentially not overpromise and underdeliver. So they said, hey, it beat our expectations. Why? Because we knew this happened before, right? Like the advertisement of Apple Intelligence, and then sure enough, you don't even have a product to be launched. And that was supposed to be with the iPhone 16, but the 17 performing really well, being led by an increase in China sales, EPS up 22% year over year. I just think the direction that this company is going is that they hushed a little bit on the Apple Intelligence and moved forward with other products. Now, what is the iPhone foldable going to do for them? I think it's going to be a hot new product. How sustainable will that be? Only time will tell. But I'm curious to what the 18 has to bring. Sharif was mentioning it's released in September. And are we going to get that upgraded version of Siri that we've all been waiting for? And hence why they're going to be paying Google a hefty amount of cash to integrate a Gemini into the system. Now, for me, Apple will always be one of those companies that I think is just going to be that flight to safety, and it's going to remain that for quite some time. Billions of iPhones in the hands of the consumer, and once they get Siri and Apple Intelligence correct, this stock is going to continue to climb, in my opinion. We didn't even get any of that, Sharif, in the iPhone 17. We were looking for the super cycle in the 16. We didn't get that, but we've seen double-digit growth within the 17 sales.
In almost every market.
In every, yeah, exactly, and across the board too, not in North America alone. So China really liking the product. What can they do with the 18? And will they have the ability to integrate Gemini into Siri into a manner where it's game-changing for the phone? I think that's really key and really important for the next steps of it. I love the new hardware thing. I like what they're getting with the foldable, but let's take that next step in this intelligence game.
All right, just want to say one more quick thing before I show it the foldable, because the foldable dimensions leaked online. Sia brought up a really good point. RAM, NAND, DRAM, whatever you want to call it, okay? Big issue, because a lot of Apple's products have RAM. Here's the deal. He, meaning Tim Cook, insanely cagey about that. Refused to comment about any plans that they have for that issue beyond June. He refused to even say price hikes are on the table. This is on the table. Doesn't want to kind of disclose his hand whatsoever. And kind of used the cop-out of we don't guide past the June quarter when we're in this current quarter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's a wild card, brother, in a good and bad way.
I want to add a point to that. Just the fact that, okay, so we brought up the fact that the increase of memory storage is obviously going through the roof.
It is.
That equals about 13% of the value that it costs to make the iPhone. From a percentage standpoint, how much are we going to see that increase?
Exactly.
Significantly more.
Exactly.
And we've talked about before the fact that is Apple willing to pass that on to the consumer? If they're not, what is that going to do? The margins were already pretty good.
Yep.
But that's obviously going to eat into them if they do. If they decide not to.
Analysts are suggesting that this could be the strategy because we didn't get any strategy from Apple. What they're saying is they're going to try to push consumers either through incentives or other means into their premium devices. I'm talking about the Pro and the Pro Max, where they have bigger margins. So by pushing pushing the consumer into the more expensive product, you're able to hold on a bit more to margins. My question is, how do you push the consumer in that direction? How do you incentivize them?
Yeah, what are you going to offer with it?
Exactly.
What are you going to offer with it?
There has to be, in my opinion, some exclusivity to that premium device in order to force the consumer. What do I mean by that? So there has to be some AI features or some sort of feature that on the Pro or the Pro Max, the consumer says, well, $200, I'll pay a little bit more for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How did the wearables perform?
Very good. They beat on everything except iPhone.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, not too bad. Are we sending things off to Adara?
I don't know.
I thought we got Adara in right here. Never mind.
Talking about is Atlassian reported earnings beating expectations. Adjusted EPS coming at $1.75 versus $1.32 expected. Revenue standing at $1.79 billion versus $1.69 billion expected. However, shares are down more than 45% after the SaaS apocalypse. Now, that SaaS apocalypse hit almost every software and data stock in the stock market that we know back in February this year after Anthropic announced its new AI tools that caused a broad-based sell-off. Data center revenue, however, has come in at $561 million, blowing away the $515 million expectation, and the company has boosted its full-year guidance for cloud and data center revenue to be 26.5% and 21.5% respectively. Before I send it back to the boys, Adara, I know you wanted to talk about this stock.
Yeah, so I think this is interesting. I think part of why this was actually on my radar was the fact that TEAM actually just got booted off the NASDAQ. Like literally, I think 2 weeks ago. We know SanDisk usurped them, and TEAM was actually also part of an exclusive group of stocks that was on the NASDAQ, just basically joined within or after 2020, and then has already since been removed. Now, this elusive group, and I'm being slightly sarcastic here, includes the likes of Zoom, DocuSign, Lucid, Rivian, Enphase. But yeah, TEAM joined December of 2020, was removed as of April 2026. So I think this is kind of maybe the comeback they needed. I think if we continue to see these software names actually coming out here with these better than expected earnings, maybe we can prove the SaaS Mageddon or SaaS apocalypse wrong. Unclear. It's just one report, but I do think it's a good start, and I do think maybe a little bit of a nice for TEAM to report on the same day as SanDisk, who again usurped them in the DAC, and a solid report here.
Yeah, I don't know this company. I really don't have anything to add. I can look at the daily, and we'll go look at the technicals, and the technicals are quite ugly. High there of January of 2025. Into about 330. It's been an unbroken lower high, lower low downtrend. You got the death cross back in May of 2025. They haven't even come close to uncrossing. In fact, most of the moving averages pointing down. Good support here. It looks like at 60. Nothing really to write home about. Let's go to the weekly. 60, is it a feature here? What was that? That was 2018. So we haven't been at these levels since 2018. So not a really good looking name, quite frankly, and a lot of lower highs there, Joey.
Yeah, I mean, as for this name, same boat. I'll look at some of the analyst actions here, and they seem pretty positive. This real quick, a nice breakout. We got out of the break even and then off to the races it goes. So that's a little bit of a missed opportunity, but nonetheless, a lot of positivity. Once again, you're up 24% and a lot of price increases. I see really, I don't know who McGuire is, but nonetheless, more common names I see increasing in price, increasing of price. Obviously, you get a little bit of a mixed bag here, some of them decreasing, but we have Truist here increasing it from $90 to $100. Let's send things off to Adara.
odd little catalyst here for this spike in ARDX. This one pushing higher after an account on X called the Claude Project announced that their Claude, like according to their recommendation or Claude's recommendation, ARDX was considered a long. Now, the Claude portfolio, I looked into this, they're not affiliated with Anthropic. It's just part of a project to see which LLM outperforms the market. It's going to be Grok, Chat, and Claude, but apparently Claude recommended to buy ARDX today, and that call, clearly a pretty good one. ARDX getting a bit of a spike again. Claude apparently recommending this, or at least one person's use of Claude resulted in this recommendation as a buy. I'm seeing a lot more of these headlines lately with AIs recommending certain stock purchases and the market reacting to that. Back to you.
All right, let's go back to Sia for the next story.
Yeah, let's take a look at Exxon and Chevron's earnings. Exxon has posted a profit of $4.2 billion, which is down 46% year over year. And Chevron has posted a profit of $2.2 billion, again, down 37% year over year. There is an oil rally that we keep talking about on the show. Everyone knows this, and both companies have signaled a strong cash flow. But talking about oil on top of this, Cuba's economic crisis, on top of Cuba's economic crisis, is just in this morning that they're also facing an oil crisis now. And the island's healthcare has been wrecked along with any access to clean water being lost. But oil crisis in Cuba. And with that, you can see on my screen, CVX down almost 2% and XOM down 1.4%.
Not a good look, despite the fact that I did like many aspects of the report. I've got three things to say. The Venezuela asset swap premium. What are we talking about? There was a lot of money that was basically frozen in terms of oil in Venezuela with CVX. So they've completed this asset swap with this company called PDVSA, and they've successfully taken back about $300 million in recovered value, not dollars, but value in equipment and everything else. And then the Permian hidden efficiency. So they reported that their total production was up about 24%, give or take. What they didn't say too much about was that the actual cost of production per barrel dropped 11%. So production up and cost to produce down. I like that look. Last but not least, remember that discovery in the Gulf of America? I'm gonna get a lot of love in the chat for that. Or if you want to call it the Gulf of Mexico, take it as you will. There was like that whole thing where they're like, oh, they found more oil there, but it's actually a bit more nuanced than that. Internal estimates at CVX kind of suggest that there's a high, what do they call it, liquid mix that's going to be significantly more profitable than just extracting heavy oil, which is kind of what they've been doing a lot lately, more in Venezuela. So I do like the report, but the market, money talks and it walks, Joey, and they're down 1.75.
Yeah, I mean, as for XOM, you get the double beat here. EPS of $1.16. The street looking for $1.03. You have revenue hitting $85.14 billion, and then you have the consensus street looking for $81.24 billion. I mean, it's pretty good numbers, right? And we kind of expected this. XOM, it broke out. It hasn't been the best trader. I mean, you go in these quite lengthy consolidations, but then when you break out, obviously with the conflict, you have some of these oil companies just licking their chops as the increase in price continues to soar. I've seen someone say $1.90 for regular at the pump. My buddy said that to me the other day. So, I mean, XOM, a nice strong breakout. It is coming in a little bit, but I mean, when you go through those lengthy consolidations, obviously the dividend they offer, it broke out strong, and the numbers were definitely reflecting that, obviously, due to the increase.
Good call, Joey. That's important as well, especially for the income paying.
Yeah.
So many different ETFs.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's a name like we know Randy's got this as one of his picks, but the dividend isn't bad in it. What do you get, $1.03 a share?
Yep.
It's not bad whatsoever. Facebook is off to the races, man, and there it goes, breaking out now, 25.78. That trend line held up, man. We should have re-engaged in that as the market's continuing to climb, and Netflix going oppo. But yeah, double beat by XOM.
All right.
See ya.
What do we got next?
Yeah, we're talking about Occidental Petroleum. CEO Vicky Holub, who's known to be one of the most prominent women in the male-dominated oil industry, will be retiring next month, handing the reins to Richard Jackson, who is currently the company's COO. Her tenure has been defined by a debt-fueled acquisition of Anadarko Petroleum in 2019, which is a bold and controversial deal that did shape the business, but also drew a lot of scrutiny from investors of the company. And the company has said that she will be continue to serving on its board of directors after her retirement. But so far this year, OXY has rallied 47%, boosted by higher oil prices due to this war that we know with US and Iran. And currently, OXY in the red by 3%.
So this Richard Jackson guy, apparently he's taken over. He's the senior VP and chief and basically COO of the company. He's been at the company for about 23 years, is my understanding. He's a veteran. He's also going to join the board of directors. And apparently this guy's coming in with a carbon mandate. So his appointment is kind of shifting towards the Hall vision of Oxy as a carbon management company, which is interesting. So he previously had led the low carbon integrated technologies division, and now he's overseeing the world's largest direct air capture, DAC. We've been talking a lot about carbon capture. A lot of people feel that it's just super fugazi, but we'll have to wait and see. And then the Buffett, the outgoing CEO, she's stepping down, according to reports, because she views the transformation of the company as complete following the 2019 Anadarko acquisition, as well as the 2024 Crown Rock purchase and the recent $9.7 billion sale of OxyChem. So I don't really know too much about her. I don't know too much about exactly the CEO succession process, but this is some of the things that I was reading here.
Yeah, there goes Meta. I'm just looking at the stock. I believe they're increasing their dividend payout as well. You're getting about a quarter a share right now, a little bit higher, 26 cents. As for some of these energy plays, we have to take into consideration some of the lengthy consolidations that you've been through, and then eventually, obviously, in regards to the conflict going on in the Middle East, you see some strong price action, and that's been the narrative. It's no different here for Occidental Petroleum. So, yeah, not too bad of a look. You're seeing a little bit of a front office change here as the previous lady who said the turnaround is now complete, so she feels at peace.
That's what I was reading.
Yeah, at peace to just kind of step aside and allow something else to happen. See ya.
Let's talk about Rivian's earnings. Adjusted operating loss coming in at $621 million versus $819 million estimated. Pretty good numbers in revenue of $1.2 billion. Gross profit at $119 million versus $56 million estimated. This shows signs of margin improvement. And deliveries are at 10,356 versus 8,640 year over year, which is a 20% growth. And it's driven by volume, not just pricing. So 2026 guidance is unchanged with in the range of 62,000 to 67,000 vehicles. And free cash flow currently stands at $5.4 billion. But the Street is seeing a potential burn of $3.8 billion in this year. Currently, RIVN in the red, 7% almost. Adara, what do you have to say about that?
Brendan and I were talking about this yesterday, actually, if you guys caught the live market recap show. We actually debuted this infographic right after the report, but automotive revenue down 2%, while software and services revenue grows by 49% is kind of wild to me, and I'm really curious to kind of see how that kind of continues to evolve. I believe automotive revenue on the Q1 2025, so this quarter last year, made up roughly 75% of the revenue, and then 25% here software and services. Obviously now it's roughly 2/3 automotive, 1/3 software and services. So that increase, continued increase here in software and services revenue, that's significant. It's interesting. I'm going to keep watching this for RIVN. I'm also curious to see how the R2 performs because I like the car and I enjoy in general the look of the Rivian vehicles. I know they're kind of polarizing. Haven't seen a lot on the streets, but maybe that changes with the R2 release.
Maybe. Thank you for that. Boys, what do you have to say about that?
Okay, I got a lot to say here. All right, so let's get down to work. VW, remember this partnership, right, where it was going to be a software only? They're not going to share any hardware. Well, Rivian printed on that $282 million from Volkswagen. That accounts for about 20% of that top line number. That's big, and that's all pure profit, right? Well, you could factor in previous R&D and stuff like that, but they didn't actually incur any costs for that in the quarter. So you have to attribute it to previous quarters. That's big to me, and that's going to be a recurring, from my understanding. It's not just a one-off line item. Secondly, the bill of materials, how much it costs for Rivian to kind of assemble that whole car, the R2, the R1, specifically in this case, I'm talking about the R2. The bill of materials, for the R2 is going to be 50% less. It's going to cost them 50% less than what they're building the R1 as. That's huge, especially because they don't make money on the R1. We know they bleed money. And that's why it's a heavy cash burn business. That changes with the R2, and that's why he's prioritizing, RJ, the R2 to get it to market as quickly as he can. Third, Uber. Remember that big line item? $300 million investment from Uber and Uber-affiliated entities. That's a one-time item, but that's still $300 million that they get to realize on their books. And for a heavy cash burn business, that could be a lifeline. That's point number 3. Point number 4, the Georgia plant. Remember, this thing is supposed to be kind of like the saving grace for Rivian. They're going to be able to scale their models at Georgia. But the thing is, previously, we had only heard that they were going to be able to do 150,000 cars per year out of that Georgia plant. Well, guess what, Joey? They've now upgraded that to 300,000 cars per year at full capacity. It's not even close to that now. My assumption is, and what I was talking with Randy off camera, is that probably has to include the R2 and then the later coming R3. I don't envision them pumping out 300,000 R2s per year.
Yeah.
Maybe sometime in the distant future, 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
I just don't see that there's going to be that much demand for that on a yearly basis. But the R3, which can be smaller and cheaper, could kind of elicit that kind of demand. Thoughts?
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, anyways, aside from the fact, what I will say, Shreve, is like, okay, producing 300,000 vehicles, that's fantastic. But if you're only going to deliver 67,000 in the full year of 2026, I mean, and you kind of miss, like, you produce more, you over deliver, you've met those delivery quotas. But I just don't know if there's going to be that kind of demand. I understand that you're making them, but if you miss on automotive revenue by 2%, I mean, I think just the space is so tough, and we talk about this time and time again. How are we looking on their autonomous vehicle segment? Because I think that's going to kind of, I mean, we're going kind of away from the whole EV thing and going into a hybrid form. I just don't know if Rivian can last that much longer, to be honest with you. I don't know. The R2 is fantastic, but you're going to base your whole company off of one specific model?
One step at a time.
One step at a time. But how much market share are you looking to grab, essentially, from some of the other names?
So let's talk about that.
Which I think is a fair question.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So Brenda was looking up to see how much the R2 is going to cost in this country.
Yeah.
It's not that much higher than the average price of a new car. So now I think we're in the low 60s, 62, 63, give or take. That's just the average price of a new car if you factor in all the cars available out there. So this thing's going to be like low 70s.
Okay.
And I know that's a lot of money. I'm not trying to, say that that's not a lot of money. But relative to the average selling price, it's not that excessive. Moreover, it's going to be cheaper in the States.
Yeah.
He promised like 40-something, right? I think that puts it in a lot of people's ranges, especially if they have good financing rates, maybe a little cash incentive here and there, right?
But I think the question is, if you have $70,000 to spend on a car as a Rivian, I get it, they're nice vehicles, but is Rivian one of the go-to? Is that what you're looking to get?
Like, I can't answer that now because I haven't seen the R2 up front and center, you know what I mean? But if possibly.
It could be. But again, how much market share do these guys hold, and who are you going to be taking it from, right?
Well, you'd be taking it from the Model Y. My assumption is, right? Model Y, R2, pretty close, right? A lot of people who don't like Elon, there's a lot of people out there that don't like him, could find their way into an R2.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? All right, see ya.
Let's talk about SanDisk. Q1 revenue standing at $5.95 billion versus the $4.70 billion estimated, which is a 27% beat due to the increasing AI and NAND demand as we know it. We did see that little bit of a Christmas tree right off the open on the chart. Adjusted EPS currently at $23.41 versus $14.50 estimated. Management has also provided a strong Q4 2026 guidance with 5-year long-term supply contracts and agreements amounting up to $42 billion that have been signed, which has promised to reduce this industry cyclicality, especially in terms with the NAND demand, increasing demand and probable shortage. So the revenue is expected to be in between the range of $7.75 billion to $8.25 billion versus the estimated number of $6.49 billion. EPS supposed to come in at between the range of $30 and $33.
To say here, I really thought it'd be kind of interesting, given the fact that we had 3 major memory names report this week, so that'd be SanDisk, Seagate, and WDC in alphabetical order. They all reported this week, so I wanted to kind of compare the performance on the quarter. It happened to be all of their fiscal Q3 2026. This visual not available on X yet. It'll be posted over the weekend, so stay tuned. Saturday afternoon, I believe, is when this is scheduled to go out. But as you can see here, SanDisk outperforming its expected revenue here at 5.95 billion, almost like doubling what we had for both Seagate and WDC. You've got net income above the others. Revenue growth year over year. I have to change the colors on this because SanDisk is, of course, green. They're going to be red for their logo, but they are up 250% year over year revenue growth and gross margin 78.4. This is actually better than NVIDIA's gross margin now, guys. So that is significant. Good quarter here. Hats off for SNDK. The one thing, of course, we worry about is can they keep this up? Because it's been a massive run for the stock. As of today, as Sia mentioned, giving up a lot of that early move to the upside, but we're gonna have to wait and see, I guess. Can we hold above 1100 as a stock, and can we keep this impressive growth as a company? Yeah.
Couple of points. So remember that headline number, $3.2 billion in net income, 3.2. Everybody attributed that what? To the price increase in RAM, and they were able to take advantage of that, increased margins. Well, guess what? 1.05 of that 3.2 billion is a one-off line item that comes from a business relationship that they unwound with Western Digital, WDC. That's a one-off line item likely to not reoccur. Secondly, I was going back with Tom, back and forth with Tom Train in the chat in the morning about the type of RAM that's created by SNDK relative to SK Hynix and Samsung and Micron and some of the other bigger players. This BIC S8. This is a new type of RAM, and apparently it's a next-gen 218-layer chips only. They only accounted, these next-gen chips, only accounted for 15% of SanDisk's deliveries. Now, why is that a problem? Because when you look at this BIC S8 and look at how many of, or what percentage, I should say, of Samsung's, of SK Hynix, and of Micron's, how much they're delivering percentage-wise, it's a lot higher. So you feel like SanDisk a little bit behind when it comes to the latest technology in terms of RAM. Doesn't mean they can't catch up. Number 3, hyperscaler qualification. Because they're not the big three, they're not Micron, they're not SK Hynix, and they're not Samsung. They're going through a qualification process right now with some of the hyperscalers, meaning that they have the product already made and ready to be shipped, yet they're unable to realize revenue. That's bad for the current quarter. Where it could be good, obviously, is in the future quarters, because all this is just pent-up revenue waiting to be realized. I don't think we've seen the end of SanDisk.
No, I don't think so either, especially with the hyperscaler CapEx. It's going to go into the pockets. We talk about going into the pockets of NVDA. It's going to fall right into the pocket of SanDisk as well. If we talk about data center revenue, up 645% from last year, $1.5 billion. And sales of storage devices like smartphones and PCs rose almost 300%, 295 to be exact. So, I mean, this company is going to continue to grow. We've seen what we've, over the past couple of months, what happened. When did this run really start? In September of 25? So this thing has gone absolutely parabolic. You see a little bit of a dip, but the one thing that I found interesting, Shreve, is just the operating margins. 78% going to increase 2% next quarter to 80%. They're guiding. So I mean, margins is extremely huge, and that's pretty high if you ask me. 80%, relatively speaking. But this stock has been on an absolute monstrous run. I was slightly surprised that we didn't have a massive gap up, and the stock went into $1,300 or so. You've seen a slight decline, but that might have been the market just pricing some things into factor.
All right, yeah.
I talked about this in the morning, but this does need a couple of reiterations. Roblox is something we're going to bring up and talk about again. We spoke about the background story about it. Now let's dive more into the technicals of the stock. Q1 revenue stands at $1.4 billion, which is up 33% a year, but the company has missed the estimates of $1.42 billion. Bookings are currently at $1.78 billion, which is up 43%. Also, BitLight versus the range of $1.73 to $1.78 billion range that was expected. And net loss has increased to 35 cents a share versus 32 cents a share year over year. DAUs at 132 million, which is up 34 million year over year, but has missed the estimates of 143.8 million. We were seeing that engagement is slowing despite the continued growth, and hours engaged have also increased 43%, but also slightly missed this momentum from April 2025 after they launched the Roblox Kids and Roblox Select. It's missing out right now. It's going back. But the key issue here remains the safety changes. That's age verification, restrictions, which is slowing the user growth, also reducing their monetization. And Q2 is looking weak. The guidance currently between the numbers of $1.39 billion to $1.45 billion versus $1.90 billion estimated. And first year 2026 bookings guide has also been cut to $5.88 billion versus $6.14 billion versus the estimated number currently at $8.2 billion. Now, the infrastructure and trust safety expenses have climbed to almost 15% in this quarter compared to 12.8% in the previous year. And these rates are tied, you guessed it, to high compute costs that are used for specifically AI recommended for you algorithms and the real-time monitoring of this entire platform. Now, while this decision with the aim to improve long-term retention, and this is acting as a margin ceiling that is contributing to GAAP losses, which have reached $248 million this quarter, versus actually helping the company. It's supposed to help the company, but it's not. It's dragging it down. Well, so currently Roblox down in the red by almost 17%.
Yeah, so the biggest thing for me here was the headwind because of this kind of safe tax that the market is calling, this age verification, mandatory, I should say, age verification, as well as communication restrictions. We've seen this a lot in Australia. You're now seeing it in Europe, and now it is being discussed in Canada. Possible limits on, how young somebody can be on the platform. So that's going to be really interesting. I think the market is basically gauging that as an intermediate term, if not just short-term headwind. Number two, this is the next few ones are going to be positive. So we've seen we saw the slowing in growth, right? Especially in the United States, the daily active users, certainly not what it was, but what was underreported was the 18 to 34 age cohort up 50% in the US, just in the US alone. And why is that important? Why do you want these older people playing on a young person's platform? Well, because the company is able to monetize that 18 to 34 age cohort at 1.5 times the rate that they're able to monetize the younger people. So it makes sense, right? They got a little bit more money. They don't have to ask mommy and daddy for their credit card number. So that's number two. Number three, Japan and India. Bright spots. We saw Dow's, or I think the growth rate, or either Dow's, drop or slow down in the continental United States. What we haven't talked about is that daily active users are up 96% in Japan and 84% in India. And these are not small markets, right? These big populations that live in both those countries. That to me is positive and could be a tailwind. Last but not least, the concentration risk. Prior to this, most of the usage of the platform was driven by 10 games and 10 games only. If you know about brain rot, you know about brain rot, right? But that was about 65%. Those 10 games were about 65% of the usage. That's kind of reduced now, and there's more diversification and more broad-based application for some of these games, which is good, right? You want to see definitely more than 10 games drive the platform, right?
Yeah, so I want to add to your point there about roughly 80% of the gaming, the global gaming market is 18+ individuals, right? So if you want to take advantage of those individuals who are older, obviously they might have a little bit of cash in their pocket opposed to having to get Roblox off of their parents. Now, I like the daily active users, 132 million, but what I find outstanding is insane. 31 billion hours engaged.
Yeah,
now,
crazy.
that's insane. That's insane. But my issue is, it's kind of like trends, all right? My major issue is that, Sharif, same with clothing lines, same with apparel and everything along those lines. One day you're hot, the next day you're not, okay? So what happens? Fortnite used to be that game, right? So everybody involved with it, Call of Duty. But what happens if you don't have the ability to hold on to your actual active users? Sharif mentioned there's 4 games that are predominantly holding the majority of this game together. What happens when that slowly starts to grow away? And what we have is essentially a shift in your user base as they continue to get older. Are you going to have that new generation start to step in? So my major issue is with this specific game is that there could be something, and there probably is in development. What happens when GTA 6 comes out, right? Like, I'm just using this as an example, is that when you have that new hot game step in, what's going to happen to that old thing? It's like that old toy that you have that you kick to the curb, and it's that new hot thing that comes into play.
That's a great point. Right? Great point. Casey, 526, dropping 10 Trader TV Live memberships. Thank you, Casey. I didn't even know you were in the chat, Casey. I hadn't seen you all morning. Hinsey, you got one. The Real Don D, Saul G, RM Weber, DJ Atlas Music, Camilio Vasquez, Arjun, Paulie Coder, Kiko, Okada, and Adam B11. All you guys got free Trader TV Live membies as a beautiful gift from Casey 526. Shout out to her. Thank you, Casey, for that. Now you guys can get my morning note. Make sure to go to the Trader TV Live homepage. Click on posts. It should be under there, and you'll get something like this, Assassino, right there, where you'll have an entire trade plan, the story, the technicals, and the trade plan. We went through that yesterday. We were looking at whether the trade plan was hitting, and it's doing quite well. So keep your eye out on that, and thank you so much, Casey, for that. Now, there's another one. Sergio B, ND4MC, dropping 10 in chat, Joey. Professor Sharif, SIVEF, is a semi-stock that I'm interested to acquire, long hold, but I have to pay a $50 foreign fee. Would you recommend buying it? Regards from Dallas, sir. Well, what kind of politeness is that? I know your favorite city right there.
I told you I love Dallas.
Yeah, that's lies.
But you didn't. I switched up. I'm not even gonna lie.
You did?
Yeah, I love Dallas.
Why?
'Cause sometimes when you look back at it, sometimes you don't realize how good things are.
But you were telling me like it was dead and there was like, there was nothing going on.
I like it now.
Okay.
Yeah. Why?
I don't.
It's warm.
Something's something's fishy about this whole thing here. I don't know, man. I don't know. You change your opinion that easily.
I did, man. It's warm and stuff over there. So.
Okay.
Also, guys, just quickly coming back to Roblox, we were talking about India being a big market. 54 in 2024, they did report their DAUs going up by 54%. Again, that's a big number. And they changed their leadership in India. The managing director now for Roblox India is someone who was leading AWS as well.
Interesting.
So we might see some good changes, we might not, but there's already, and it's been like 2 days since this got announced, or a day, there's already critics around it.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a lot of ups and downs. This man apparently, his name is Sunil Rao. He's apparently tethering like the line of good and bad. So.
Nice. Very diplomatic of you, Sia. Let's look at SIVF. Is Sivers Semiconductor. I don't have it on my platform, but Joey, we're going to go to the daily on this.
Yeah.
What do you think about this one, Joey?
Is it up? Then we like it.
It's all-time highs. Where's that tool where I drag the percentage thing?
Shift?
Yeah. And that's it? That's all I got to do?
Shift in, click that bad boy. There you go, and
Oh,
drag
working,
it. Yeah,
Joey.
you got it up
Moving the
there.
whole
Look,
thing?
there you go.
Oh, I
Bang.
see. Well, Joey, it's only up 700% since up. Are you kidding me? Yeah, Katina, man. Thing went to market in March of this year. It's up 700%. So you got to pay a $50 foreign fee, Sergio? With price action like that. I mean, this is the daily on SIVF. Let's go to the 4 hour for you know what in giggles. Okay? This is a great looking name. Now, this is on the OTC, right? Shout out to Jeff Mendel, friend of the show. Look, Sergio, we cannot give financial advice, as you know, legally, but if you're asking my opinion on the technicals of this chart, I think it's very good. Now, does that mean it goes up in a straight line? No, you definitely have to keep your eye on the trend. I do see some resistance initially at $4 over here. Looks like you're at $5.45 already. Very clean. If it does drop in, look at that clean hold of the moving averages. I'd be picking it up at around $4.50 where the moving average is at the moment. Otherwise, it fills that. You're picking it up at 10. I'd sell it if it was to lose that $3 area, because $3 here was quite a good area of support from Monday, April the 26th, to the breakout of April 29th. This thing's a rocket ship. Shout out to Sergio.
We have a couple of super chats that
Go ahead, Joey.
over here. Yeah, I mean a lot of hate going on in Dallas. I don't know, man. I like Dallas. All right, Sergio B, $2 super chat. Thank you for that. My contributions to Joe Espresso from Dallas. Shout out Dallas Fort Worth. We love you. Deep Elm and everything along those lines. And we have a couple more here.
Get it, Joe.
$20 from Let Us Go. Appreciate the team for being my eyes and ears on the market every day. Made my money this morning on CRWD. CoreWeave pop. Now I'm just chilling in Cedar Rapids the rest of the day. Good luck to everyone out there. Cedar Rapids, where's that? In Detroit or something?
I feel like it's Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. We could be wrong, but yeah. We can find out. Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Okay. Iowa,
okay,
second largest city. Okay, completely off.
All right, we were not close. Sounds like a Michigan.
Not even close. All right.
Not even close there. But yeah, shout out to Dallas. I know everybody's a lot of hate going on.
Well, because you said some stuff about Dallas before, Joe.
But I take it all back.
Yeah, well, you know, people don't forget.
What's that? I love Texas.
You do, eh?
Supposed to go to Texas sometime soon?
I did. I went. I
Wants to go to Vietnam.
I was there.
Okay?
Oh,
Take
yeah.
your
He wants
boy to
settle
Vietnam,
down
okay?
in Vietnam. He doesn't go there.
there.
Take your boy to Vietnam there.
Vietnam,
So we
Danang.
stop hearing about it.
Danang.
All right.
Yeah, Dallas traffic. I didn't find it that bad, to be honest with you.
The
It's not like-
traffic?
yeah. It wasn't
Well, if
that
there's
bad.
no people in the street, how can the traffic be bad?
Yeah, it's fair.
I'm just teasing you, brother. And the Cowboys don't even play in Dallas, right? You know they're
No,
outside.
they're in what's it called there?
I forget the name of No, it's not
No,
Fort Worth,
it's,
Katina, man. It's
It's like
dang it.
Huntington or something.
No,
it's
Arlington.
not. Arlington. See, I was
Thank
close
you.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
I had the Ington right.
Fort Center is in Arlington too. I think their training facility. I'm
Arlington.
pretty sure it's
Yeah?
in Arlington. I'm not sure. Yeah, Arlington. Shout out to
Yeah,
Byron.
Arlington.
Irving.
Someone said Houston. That's crazy.
I'm pretty sure it's not Irving, isn't it?
No, it's Arlington, man.
Arlington.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Houston is the best. Someone said.
Well, yeah. I mean, Dallas. Okay. All right. Let's go back to see it because we're going to talk a little Roku, and Roku's ramping today.
Let's talk a little Roku for sure. Platform revenue is up 28% to $1.13 billion. There's a beat versus $1.01 billion with their core ads that's accelerating. Now, ads is what is causing this rip. Total revenue growth is driven by the shift from linear TV to streaming at a strong targeting and measurement for the company's tailwinds. First year 2026 platform revenue guide has also been raised by 21% to $5 billion versus its prior 18%, which signals a clear demand here. And EPS and overall sentiment is also boosted by the ad spend resilience despite macro concerns. And active accounts are now at 80 million households. Device segment, however, is weak. Revenue off the device segment standing at $118 million, which is declining 16% year over year. There is margin pressure with higher costs that are expected in the second half of the quarter, but currently Roku in the green, up 4%.
So memory prices are hurting them, but as you can see, the stock has not really reacted to that. Looks like they're using their TVs here essentially as a loss leader to get you into the subscription model. So we'll have to see how that affects them going forward, but they're already getting hit here. And they're looks like they're intentionally eating a negative 14% gross margins on the TVs as a result of the increase in memory prices. So component costs are hurting them. 2, political ad vacuum. Remember we heard about their huge ad sales during the 2025-ish, late 24 political cycle. Well, even without that, organic advertising grew by 27% if you remove the political ads. That's quite bullish. Number 3, on their system, not saying on all other smart TVs, but on the Roku system, their app, the Roku app, is only behind Netflix and YouTube. So they're kind of moving up that. That's obviously very accretive for them because they sell ads on that anyway. So the fact that they're moving up on the system, I do like. And then last but not least, it looks like their subscription revenue also jumped about 30%. It's underreported. What's underreported about that 30% jump is that the money that they're making on that increase is actually higher. They increased their margins on that. So that's quite accretive. And I think that's why we're jumping about 26.4%. A lot to like about this. And let's not forget about that $100 million in share buybacks that always puts money back into the shareholders' pocket.
Share buybacks typically bullish. Sharif, just a couple of points here as well. I mean, at the end of the day, you see 30% subscription revenue growth. You're talking about ad revenue not too long ago coming in at 27%, so that's really good. But I mean, the gross margins, that's something that we're going to focus on. Pretty high, 60% and strong for Q1. They're looking for an increase leading into Q2 as well, so that's up 400 basis points or 4% over the previous quarter. Subscription margins up 40% as well too. So a lot of positive things going with Roku. They have their own ecosystem, and this is the name that has been. And I think that's what's good for them, right? They kind of just have that own hardware and software kind of ecosystem. You have the digital ad revenue, which is huge. You want to take advantage of that if you have the ability to do so. Why? Because of the margins on that, relatively high. But there it is, a nice gap up. You tap into 126. Is this all-time highs here for Roku? It might be. No, not even close. Yeah, not even close.
I remember this during the pandemic, man. That show the mother of all double tops.
No.
You don't want to show the mother of all double tops?
During the
Jeez Louise,
that's
look
right.
at that. We're never going to see that again.
Yeah, you'll never see that again, unfortunately. Unless that digital ad revenue goes through the roof, Sharif, which I don't know. It is growing at a good pace, high margins, but just to climb essentially another 300% is most likely unlikely there, unfortunately, for Roku.
Let's take a look at Estée Lauder. So tariff headwinds coming in here causing a hit on their outlook. For the third quarter, net sales have come in at $3.71 billion and earnings per share on an adjusted basis were 91 cents per share. For the full year, the company has said organic net sales growth would be approximately 3% at the high end of its prior range, and companies expecting tariff-related impact to cut the first-year probability by $100 million, despite the mitigation efforts. But the key issue here is the timing. The timing with the tariff costs currently showing deferred on the balance sheet, which means that the future earnings will potentially be hit. So no expected benefit is expected from these tariff reductions in the second half of for FY 2026, currently EL up by 3%.
A few comments here. First and foremost, mainland China was very good for them. They're basically saying we're able to outperform the broader prestige market, prestige beauty market for 3 consecutive quarters. China, very big market in general. So that's number one. You got to like the fact that they're able to pick up steam there. And also the CEO, what's his name? Fabrizio Freda. He's basically looking at expanding margins by 300 basis points. And that's not just by charging higher. They're saying higher prices, pardon me. What they're saying is they're fundamentally changing their supply chain in order to actually drop costs and to, basically increase margins. So that's number 2. Number 3 is the Amazon Premium. Since they put in their, I think it's called the Ordinary, that's their line, not like I know, on Amazon Premium, they've seen a huge boost in revenue from that. So nice tie up there with a very obviously big online retailer. And then that's really all I have to say about that. But, not a space I have too much information on.
Did they just acquire someone as well not too long ago?
Adara would probably know. I have no idea.
Maybe Adara would know. I can't remember who, but nonetheless, just looking at some of the guidance numbers here, I mean, you see an increase in EPS, coming in line. Revenue estimate's going to be up a little bit from the 3.55 billion, looking at 3.69 billion valuation, PE around 20.5. But as for Estée Lauder, this has not been good. I know Jim Cramer always talks about this name, but you're down 78% off of the highs here in EL.
Eek. Yeah.
Now let's take a look at Moderna. Q1 revenue standing at $1 billion plus versus the estimated number at $758 million, which is a 32% beat. International sales at $311 million versus US $389 million. COVID vaccine sales, I know, but COVID vaccine sales are still dominant. $938 million versus $281 million year over year. There's a miss with the EPS, however, it's in the negatives, $3.40 versus $3.90 that was estimated. So their key catalyst here is, however, the FDA's approval of the updated COVID shot that clears the regulatory hang over the company, which is a good news. Strategic shift is also underway with the expansion into oncology, more specifically the cancer vaccine. And FY26 outlook revenue growth is expected to be at a low to mid single digits, and currently Myrna in the red 3%.
The report that came out a couple of minutes ago from the Wall Street Journal, coinciding with a little bit of a drop in oil. Wall Street Journal reporting that, and this is the headline here, quote, Iran softens conditionings for resuming peace talks with the U.S. Apparently, as we know earlier, we saw reports they handed Washington a new proposal for ending the war. Apparently, this proposal offers, quote, hints of compromise in a bid to revive talks to end the standoff. We know this has been really costly for Iran's economy and for their currency. That has taken quite a hit as well. Apparently, the two sides do remain far apart on substantive issues, including the reopening of the Strait and Iran's nuclear program. These are likely two issues that these countries will remain, again, split apart on, but Wall Street Journal, once again, reporting here, Iran softening its conditions for resuming peace talks with the U.S. Back to you.
Thank you very much. All right, I've got one thing to say about this, and it's what Brendo mentioned right at the top there. Basically, cancer. INT are the letters that I want to bring your attention to. What am I talking about? Individualized neoantigen therapy. It has completed the phase 3 enrollment process, not the entire phase 3 trial, but the enrollment process for their melanoma cancer drug. That's what they're called. Individualized neoantigen therapy. The first time an mRNA cancer vaccine has reached this scale. I can really only hope that they succeed. I think a lot of people should be rooting for them, even if you're not invested in the stock, given the societal benefits that this will cause. Number 2, the right sizing. So apparently, they were able to save about $350 million by ending or removing these COVID-era production lines, which were costly to produce or costly to maintain, and they're no longer relevant. So those are the 2 takeaways here. Other than that, I want to hear very little about COVID and flu and everything else. I think there's a market saturation for that kind of narrative. Talk to me about cancer. Talk to me about these ailments that society has had it up to here with.
Yeah, well, I don't even know what we're doing still talking about COVID and how these guys are still trying to factor that in. I mean, this stock has peaked a long time ago, and that was obviously during the pandemic. Still operating at a net loss, $1.34 billion or $3.40 a share. I mean, I really honestly don't. That's all I can really say is what are we still talking about the seasonality of COVID and how that's going to affect you? You're talking about a $971 million net loss reported just due to some other fees. They need to move on and they need to come out with that next drug because COVID is a thing of the past, and you can see a lot of the companies who were once affected by it recovered, and you're still trying to implement this. And I heard Sean talking about being a quarter of your revenue. I mean, at the end of the day, you're down $1.3 billion and reliant on something that was of the past. So I don't like this stock right now until they come out with these new drugs. And other than that, it's status quo with you.
Yeah, and the market's not impressed too. I mean, it got a price spike up there initially at $630, and the whole thing got faded, right?
Yeah.
Below VWAP, it tried to go green above 46. And the market dropped it. Let's just look at, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, you're going to say something from the technicals. And I mean, you can read from, from a weekly standpoint from December, late last year, the stock's up 50%. But you also have to take into consideration that this was a $500-$600 name at one point, right? $500. And then, you're down 90%. You're up 50% off of the lows. But look at the value which is lost within the company.
I wish them all the best, man. I have no hate for them. You can get melanoma out of the way.
Yeah.
You've got my support.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you'd have a lot of individual support at that point too, but I think it's time that they move on from COVID.
Agreed. All right, guys, we gave him back 30 seconds.
Did we?
We did. 30 seconds. You guys gave us a minute and a half, Neil. 2 minutes. Guys, try to steal another 30 seconds.
I want to,
Go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, before we send things off there, Katina, man, I just want to write down for myself. Can I get those numbers there, my guy, that we had on our picks there, brother?
What's going on with that?
Let me write those down right here real quick.
What's going on with the
position
ticker there?
With position. He's in JPM, my guy. All right.
I'm in JPM. I'm in JPM.
All right, no, hold on. Talk to me, my guy.
JPM is a good one. Yeah. So SanDisk 1039.
1039. Okay.
Meta, the big one, 681 for Meta.
Okay.
That's the big banger there. And then you have 350 Google and 262 Amazon.
Okay.
You got to do the math.
All right, my guy.
What is this bet, Katina, man? I don't understand.
It's not a bet. It's just he was feeling some kind of way. So I said, why don't we just pick names for this week?
Yeah. I'm feeling some kind of way. I'm just curious about those.
Hold on, we got to get to the super here.
I haven't even looked at them. I don't know what they're saying right now. These are the numbers.
Sorry, man.
Hey, that's another sticky note right there.
Is SNDK even up right now off that play?
It's actually up, Katina, man. 1 1/3.
Oh, SNDK is
1 1/3.
only up $80 from what I said. That's all.
Okay, we have to go to Adara, but come back to us, Sino, because I want to read the super.
DJT to the upside and sharply here. This is, again, Trump Media and Technology reportedly plans to spin out Truth Social and Truth Plus into its own company. So, again, media spin out apparently planned here for DJT to the upside. Back to you.
Good day.